hopefully this is a good vantage point for you guys. I'm still getting situated a little bit, so if you need to get situated, go ahead and do that. But I finally finished cutting out all the pieces for my Mav pack, which I'm very excited to finish. I was hoping to do this a little earlier today, but I just did not have the energy, y'all. Oops, sorry for the camera shake while I get situated here. I was so tired this morning when I hopped on live with you guys. And I just have not felt super great all day. I swear I really think I am fighting something off because I have just been like really draggy and super tired, and I don't know, just not really feeling like myself. So I've ended up hanging out on the couch and doing like not a lot of work today and just hanging, and that helped me a ton. So I ended up feeling a bit better after taking a nap on a leisurely Saturday, but I'm not a napper like ever, so I can tell I don't feel right when I end up taking a nap. So that's what I did today. I'm gonna try to like back this up just a little bit more. I'm trying to get a good vantage point, and I'm having a really hard time today. I want you guys to be able to see the bed of the machine, but I would rather not be like a talking set of hands either. I think it's kind of weird to like not have a face at all. Let me see if I can. Normally I like to go up ways with the camera, but I know that does weird things, and so I really should be shooting in landscape, not portrait. That's probably better than nothing, but I want you guys to be able to see the bed of the machine because I know that's kind of what everyone's here for. I'm going to apologize in advance for like the squeakiest chair in the world. This chair is awful, and at some point I'll probably replace it, but for now that's what I have, and I don't know of anything better. If you have a better chair, shoot me a link or something, because I've kind of always hated this one. It's one of these like Techniso chairs, and honestly it's firm and it was comfortable, but like as I've had it for a few years now, it's just not comfortable anymore. And then the fact that it squeaks like the devil. I'm going to grab a hair tie really quick, and then we can get started. I have all my pieces like chilling here, and I'm hoping to finish this guy tonight. And I probably won't do the strap tonight because I think the strap's going to take too long trying to figure that out, but we'll see. We'll see where we get. If I were a hair tie, where would I be? I always have hair ties around except when I need one. There's one. Okay. This hair has been bothering me all day, and I have been shedding like a dog for the past few days. I normally shed a lot, you guys, but seriously, I wake up every day with like more and more hair gone, and I still have a ton of it, but oh my gosh, I'm shedding like crazy. Okay, let me see. I've got clips, I've got some stabilizer, I've got double-sided tape somewhere in this pile of nonsense. I've got binding, I've got hardware, and I have a pattern I no longer need to look at because I've now made so many Mavs, and I kind of don't follow the pattern exactly anyway. So the sizing of mine tonight is 130%. This is the back panel. It's a pretty big upsize. I've now made them an original 115%, 120%, and then this one will be 130%. So I don't know if I'm going to offer templates for 130%. I mostly just made this 130% for myself. So and I only made it that big because I needed the SVG to work with the specific size of hole on the chest on this. So, that's what I'm working on. I don't know if you're working on something else, and then I'm going to do some interesting things with this once it's all finished. But I'm really eager to get the bag finished first, and then I want to see if I want to actually turn it into a backpack with backpack straps, or and that's what I'm planning on doing today. I have extra D-rings, but I did not cut the slider piece for this. That is one thing actually on the pattern I do need to look at. I'm gonna look that up really quick. I'm thinking I want to make this one a backpack and not a crossbody because of the size of it. So I'm kind of thinking that I want, sorry for the shake there, I wanted to check something. I'm kind of thinking that instead of doing the slider bar on the back of this Mav, where basically you put it like this and you do the slider bar, although let me think this through. I wasn't going to do the slider bar because I wanted to put 2 D-rings on the back. That way, if I wanted to have it be a backpack, I could spread the rings out like that and have backpack straps, or I could put them together to one side and have it be a crossbody. But what I don't know, I think I probably ought to do the slider at least for this one, because if I fix them, I was going to do a fixed on the side like a normal backpack, but if I do that, then if I choose to wear it as a crossbody, it will be like I'll have a D-ring sticking out to the side. That may be kind of weird. So maybe I won't do fixed ones. So for now, I'm just going to go through all the regular assembly and we can hang out and chit chat and have fun on a Saturday night. Corey is in the other room working on the laser. He's running like example templates and other stuff right now to try to get like settings all dialed in. That's for sure above my pay grade. Because this laser that we got is a lot more complicated than the old one. So while I'm sure it will eventually be fine, for now, it's pretty complicated. So he's doing that. This is going to be the first Mav I've ever done actually without piping as well. So this will be interesting. I really like the look of piping, and I thought I would do piping on this one, but I just, with all the applique on the edge, where's my trash can? Where's my trash can? With all the little piping on the edge, or on the, excuse me, all the applique pieces on the edge of this bag right here, I think the piping is going to be too much. I mean, I know the machine can handle it, but I'm afraid when I go to turn it, it'll just be too much. So I'm not going to do piping on this one. I don't think I could, but I don't want to. And then I'm going to do the binding method on this one because I had to put the pocket back here for the light for this. So the binding method is 100% going to be the better way to go here. I have just enough down here to bind it, and this will be kind of at the bottom to hold my light in there. So, shout out to everybody who's watching. Hello. Oh God, this chair is so squeaky. It drives me nuts. I don't know if anybody else has a Techniso, this brand right here. Is your chair as squeaky as mine? Like if you have one, it seriously drives me bonkers. So for anybody who's seen me do a Mav before, I always do the slip pocket, by the way. So I just top stitched across the top of my slip pocket, and I'm going to attach that to my rear liner piece. I'm doing all waterproof canvas on the inside because I do not want to have to interface. And this thing, so when you do marine vinyl applique, like this is just a piece of marine vinyl, this maroon, and then all of this is metallic marine vinyl. This white is marine vinyl with a black base. So this is, let me see it, it's at its thickest. It's 1, 2, 3 layers of marine vinyl, technically 4, I think right here, because you've got, but I cut some of it away in the back, so it's 3 or 4 right in this specific area around the circle, but everywhere else it's 3 layers of marine vinyl. And then waterproof canvas. So you can see like this is pretty rigid. I mean, it'll bend enough, but like I don't want to put more interfacing in there. I probably could have, maybe I should have, but I didn't want it peeling or separating from here, and I don't typically interface my marine vinyl for like any reason. So there won't be any interfacing on this. I mean, it stands up like on its own. Like I'm just putting my thumb behind it to support it like a tiny bit so it doesn't fall over. If I use the sewing machine, like it stands up. This thing is thick. She thick. So don't need any extra interfacing. And so here I'm doing a folded over long rectangle, top stitch across the top for my pocket. I'm going to attach it to the back. And this one I cut pretty specifically. I didn't leave a lot of extra overhang on here, so I'm going to baste it across the bottom first. So the one thing I have noticed about this machine, and it does okay, but I have to pull the thread like you just saw me do it. The cone on this likes to get stuck for some reason. And so I have one of those little sock net things around it. And it doesn't cause any issues with my tension, but it makes it really hard to pull the thread away from the needle. Like I have to pre-pull some of the thread out and then pull my project away. So I don't really know why it does that, but you're going to see me doing that a whole bunch. It's not really a big deal, but it's the tension is so tight with that little sock net. I need to have Corey 3D print me an adapter to hold the larger cone. You can't see it, but I'm using, what am I using? I'm using Wizardry Christmas Red tonight. And so that's what I was saying, because otherwise what ends up happening is the thread falls below here and it gets stuck on the bottom. It's like the plate on this machine isn't big enough to hold such a big cone of thread. And I wish it wasn't like that, but it is. So we deal with it. And it works fine enough with the little net, but I just wish I didn't have to do that. So like I just pull it away a little bit and then pull. Okay, so I am going to baste this all the way around, but I want to make sure that this stays straight. Don't want a crooked pocket inside. And it's not the Wizardry thread, by the way, that does that, because I've noticed I have to do the same thing with the Saya thread. It's just any of the larger cones on this base gets weird. Right now, what are you stuck on? Oh, I see what happened. Got looped around. There we go. Okay, so now I'm just gonna baste it around here. I got a little off the side, but I don't think that's too big of a deal. I'll just cut the extra off, that's not a problem. I'm really just basting from the wrong side so I can see the whole thing. Pocket got a little crinkled, but I'm not going to be real pressed about it because by the time we get this whole thing like bound and all that, we're not even going to know. So from the front it's fine, but from the back I got a couple of little crinkles right there. But once we cut all this off and then bind, we're not going to know. It's going to be way deep inside of all the layers, so I'm not going to be worried about that. I got to grab scissors. I always forget something. Always, always. And the next thing I'm going to do before I forget, so all I'm doing now is cutting off the excess on the pocket so it aligns with the back. That way I can sew around my curve nice. So I'll just cut off that little bit of, little itty bitty bit of extra, and then we'll just treat it like one layer, and I have my nice slip pocket. I'm gonna set these aside really quick. I need to decide where. I think I'm just gonna put it on the back, like the back top maybe. I have a bag tag, so I'm gonna put that on. Where is my double stick tape? That's weird. I had 2 things of double stick tape over here. I have one that's like barely clinging to life. It just has like, I don't know, a foot left of tape on it. But now I can't find it. Okay, well, we'll break into the new one. We'll break into the new one. On the live earlier, I was talking about this tape and how much I like it, and how much I've always liked this tape. So the one thing I like about it is I can rip it with my hand. I don't have to cut it if I don't want to, but you can cut it. And I just like that it sticks to everything. So I'm about to use it on cork. And I'm going to stick it to marine vinyl. It's an 1/8 of an inch thick. It's really, really thin, but it sticks incredibly well. And I really like this tape. I've always liked it. I'm also trying to decide if I want... Oh, I have a love-hate relationship with contrast stitching, you guys. I love contrast stitching when it's done right, but like when I'm tired, I don't want to do it. I'm being lazy. And today just feels like one of those lazy days. To be honest, I'm struggling with like, do I even want to finish this bag? Because I put so much work into it and I don't want it to get messed up. But I started this bag like a week and a half ago, and I need to finish it, you know. I want to work on other things. I have a show that I'm getting ready for, so I want to have display bags in the booth with, you know, specific hardwares and like other things. So, you know, I need to get this one done, and this one is just for me, like it's not for... Oops. There's 2 pieces of double stick tape stuck back to back on here, and it... I'll take that piece off. There's like a sticker stuck on it, so it, right there, so it didn't get stickied. So we'll take that off. Get a new piece, but, anyway, you know, I want to work on new stuff, but I gotta get this one complete. Otherwise, I've been trying so hard for the last couple of years, honestly, not to set stuff aside until it's done and not to start anything new, because for me, I get easily distracted, but I also have like a short attention span, and you know, I just don't want to complete, I don't want to complete just the front and set it aside. That's what I don't want to happen. So I'm like, I'm not going to complete anything until I get this bag done. Done. Make sure that looks relatively straight. I think that looks pretty good. I'm notorious for putting my bag tags on crooked. I probably should try to measure. I don't have any rulers handy, and I don't want to get up. Just to make sure this isn't like horribly crooked. Oh, this chair is gonna drive me nuts, you guys. I might switch chairs, honestly. I like this chair better than my other one, but good grief, it's so freaking loud. Oh, hey, that's actually not really very crooked at all. I'm shocked. My tags are always crooked. So I didn't put that on the back. It is such a pain to switch this chair too. Like I have to push it over, open both of the double doors to this room. Ugh. But these little squeakies are gonna drive me bonkers. It's like every part of this chair squeaks. And they all just kind of squeak like in a terrible little harmony together when I move in it. Oh, let's see here. Okay, so let's do our tag, and then the other thing is, do I want contrast stitching? I have a maroon that's really close to this. It's not quite this maroon, but I'm kind of thinking like, if I don't do contrast stitching, things will be so much better. But I'm also too lazy to change my bobbin. Let me see if I do not have a pre-wound bobbin in this color, so speaking of which, I need to check this one. Oh yeah, I have like a full bobbin, so I guess we're just going to do contrast stitching and hope that it turns out for the best. I don't know who else is out there who is with me, who is like officially tired of summer, but I'm there. I've been there for about 2 weeks. It is so hot outside, you guys. I don't like the heat even at the best of times. Like my limit is like 95, and it has been so hot here. I'm sure probably where you are it's been hot too, because like the entire nation has been hot. But oh my God, I'm over it. I'm over the heat. It's too hot to do anything outside, even go swimming. It's just, everything is hot. I am beyond over it. I cannot imagine having an outdoor job. I absolutely feel for anyone who has to work outside. I love being out of doors when it's not crazy hot. But it has been absolutely disgusting. And I'm located in Texas. I don't know where y'all are at, but like, oof, it's been humid lately. The bugs are getting like pretty out of control. Luckily, we have not had any mosquitoes this year because we haven't had any rain in my area, which is also one of my problems. I love a good summer storm, and we get, nice summer storms. Yet I have not had a single summer storm this whole summer. We are hot and dry. And way too sunny, and I'm just sick of it. I'm so over it. I've been hiding inside and doing all kinds of indoor business related things that I can do to try to keep cool and try to like limit my outside exposure, because it's just too much. Okay, so we got a bag tag. Okay, where are my pieces? These are gussets. Gusset. Here is my little D-ring holder. I was going to go with regular gold hardware, but I decided, oh, do I really have to get up and get a pen? I don't want to get up. Oh, good. I have a pen right here. Excuse me. I decided to do antique gold hardware because really this is one of my favorite finishes, and because it's Iron Man, I feel like, it's going to be my bag, but I do feel like this is kind of a masculine, it's a masculine character. And I really want, I really want a specific look about this bag. I want it to be kind of unisex, like, again, it's for me, but I just want it to have that type of feel because of the character that's on it. And the antique gold that I carry in my shop is a phenomenal looking color for that. And it goes really, really good with the metallic vinyls I've been using. So I am happy about that. So I'm going to make my little D-ring tab. And we'll get that done right off the top. I do like the way this contrast stitching looks on the maroon. It's, you know, a tone on tone effect, but you do get a little bit of detail there. So I do like that. Oh, I think the other thing with this heat, I normally don't suffer through allergies, but oh my gosh, my nose is runny all the time lately. And I keep waking up in the middle of the night having like issues like that too. I'm just over this heat, you guys. Okay, so I don't think I'm going to do 4 lines of stitching on that. I don't really think I need to. I think I'm okay with this. And also, look how fabulous this maroon looks with the antique gold. Like, that's a nice color combo, right? And I feel like it really suits the whole character situation. I guess let's double check that against all of this and see. But I kind of checked it earlier and thought, ooh, that's going to look really nice. Like, it's the right tone of gold versus bright gold. And then I'm going to be using these handmade zipper pulls from my shop in that same gold. So I think that'll look really, really good. And I'm excited for it. Yeah, this will be a good project to complete. I have not done a selfish sew, like a legitimate selfish sew, in a long, long time. I don't know, I just feel like I never have the time for it. And I'm going to baste this. Dirty baste it together so I don't have to keep worrying about this popping apart. Because it's finicky. Okay, much better. Trim off these little... Okay, that's much more securely on there. Forgot what I was saying. Probably doesn't matter, but I forgot. Oh, a selfish sew. Yeah, I just haven't done a selfish sew in a while. One of the last true selfish sews that I did was my King George bag from Hamilton. So it's been a minute, and that bag I think is 3 years old. And I've sewn a few other, like I made myself a Dana pack, but that was just like a really basic run-of-the-mill, like quick sew to go on vacation kind of a thing. It was not one of my like detail heavy, you know, custom bags. It was just a fun little sew up. A fun little sew up that was super quick. And while I love that bag, you know, sometimes you just gotta do something really special. And I honestly can't even tell you what led to this bag. I just had this idea. I had this idea for this light up bag. It took me a couple of days to find the puck lights that were the right size. and it needed to be battery operated. And with like, I didn't want a remote or anything. So when I had to go in search of these puck lights, it took me a couple of days to find the light. So I wanted it to click like that. So once I finally found that, it was like, ooh, okay, can I make this work? And then it took me, it didn't take me a week like working straight, obviously, but I didn't have all the time to finish it right off the bat in one sitting. So it took me quite a while to make the SVG, probably about a week total from start to finish. So then once I had finally finished the SVG, it took me a couple more days to finally be able to sit down and cut it on the Cricut machine and work out all the kinks, because it never cuts, you know, perfect the first time when you draw it. You gotta make corrections. So then I did that, and you know, it's just been kind of a slow going process, but that's okay. What's that saying? It's about the journey, not the destination. However, in this case, it's totally about the destination. I want my bag done. The next parks vacation we get to go on, well, the next vacation at all that we get to go on is in December. So we will be headed out to the parks in December. And I'm super stoked to wear this bag there. Actually, I have another light up bag planned as well, but I probably won't get to that one for many weeks. You know, just cause that's how life goes. Okay, let's turn this little chickadee inside out here. This is always my favorite part when you do these 100% out of vinyl. It's a little tough. Come on. There you go, not too bad. I'm gonna poke this guy out a little bit in the corners. That tab's a little long, but like, I'm okay with that. I'm not super mad about that. It could be better, but it for sure could be worse. I do think I might rivet that so that this isn't floppy. That drives me nuts when these are floppy. But I don't like, on this bag, if you've never made a MAV before, be aware, I'd rather have the tab longer than shorter, because if you use a larger D-ring or like a triangle ring that's wider, you have to be able to, you know, fit it into this little space to, like, you have to be able to sew around it. So if you're too short, your D-ring ends up like right here and you end up running into it and you'll end up with busted needles. So you do kind of have to have a little bit of a long tab, but you can just add a rivet right there, and that'll make it, you know, it's a little bit more decorative. Keep this from being super wobbly if you don't like that. And it's not going to hurt anything. When you're wearing it on the front, the way that the bag is, it actually kind of lends itself because you have, you know, hardware and strapping like this. It's not too bad. I don't prefer, like, if this was a regular handbag, this would drive me nuts and I would not have it be this long. But for the MAV, you do have to be a little careful, you know, how you do that. So I'm going to top stitch this little part. I like it much better when it's top stitched. I just think it looks a lot neater and cleaner. And then I also like to baste mine closed at the bottom just because I think it sews up a lot nicer. But that's a personal preference. Faux show. This vinyl is a little sticky, which is kind of surprising. Normally that's not something I deal with. It's not terrible, just a little sticky. I think maybe it was just that first part. It got caught. I want this. The famous broken clothespin hump jumper. Yeah, this vinyl is just a little sticky. It could be that my house is on the humid side right now. For anybody who embroiders, you know that trick where things will stick when it's humid out. And it has been hot and humid. Our AC has been having a little bit of a trouble keeping up. So that's how I know it's hot, because normally we don't have those issues. So, top stitched. Pretty pretty. Okay. Let's see. So I want to attach this on my back panel. I can just baste this into place right now. There's no reason to wait. I'm not doing anything funky here. Let me see. I want to make sure. I made a center line on this, but I don't think it's centered. It sure doesn't look centered. That's weird. Oops. Let's see. I guess I can just center it on my tag. That's the thing that really needs to not be off center, right? Yeah, I just think the mark that I made is off center. That's so funny. Bulk in those corners. Okay. Okay, so this is the only thing I still need to do. I have to cut the D-ring slider for this. I didn't cut one because I wasn't sure how I wanted to do it. I was saying that at the beginning, so I need to just cut myself a rectangle and do that. I don't know. I could do it out of waterproof canvas to keep some bulk out of here because I really like doing the quad fold method. But I don't really like the way that this red looks right up against the back like that. It's a little too garish, I feel like. And I'm for sure going to have to remember that I put both, another D-ring around here somewhere. There it is. That I put both D-rings on here. Gosh, I don't know. Once I get the rest of the bag all together, there's going to be a lot of red on the maroon, so I don't think it'll be that big of a deal, but I just don't really know if I like that or not. It will certainly keep a lot of bulk out of this rear area though if I don't do, I just want to keep as much bulk out of the seams as possible because like I was telling you guys before, this is 3 and 4 layers just on this front part. And then we're going to have another layer with the gusset. And I don't want it to be like so much that it's kind of, you know, pulling and all that. I think maybe I will do waterproof canvas. I might even have maroon waterproof canvas. I should check my stacks here. If I have maroon, I did just get like 100 colors from Glitterbug Fairy. Oh, I do. You know what? This is not from Glitterbug Fairy, but I have maroon. And I have a scrap. Let me see how this color compares. Ooh, hello. Oh, yeah. Let's just do that. That will be good. That's a happy compromise. This is some leftover otter text that I had. And then let me grab, I have my template here that I used. So we'll just do that. I think I can cut this piece. Use this weird little scrap. How about that? I think that'll work. Let's see. Let's see if I can get 4 inches out of that. I think I can. Okay. Cool. All right, I got my little scrap. So I have this otter text, and look how good this matches. Like so much closer than this super bright red. And putting the band on the back out of the waterproof canvas instead is going to be a lot better. So I'm going to use my seam roller. I'm just going to fold this. Myself a little work here, workspace. I'm going to fold this in half and just simply score it. Score a line down the middle using my seam roller. Which, by the way, best seam roller ever from Zorel Fabrics. If you do not have one, get one. It's amazing. See how nice it scores? And then we're just going to fold on in to the inside here, and I'm going to score it again. I'm not going to put tape on this because I just don't really need to. I will clip it as I go after rolling it. I'm so glad I looked over to the other side of the room where all my other canvas was, because I would have missed this. I've been so focused on using the glitter bug canvas, the canvas I got from her, I should say, that I forgot I have like 2 extra rolls left from my old stash. I also just like to take a minute, even though my nails are very broken and sad, but like, it matches my fingernails, which is no accident. I always have maroon nail polish on, you guys. I am such a one-trick pony when it comes to that, but I love maroon. Many of my personal possessions are maroon. I love them so much, or love that color, I should say, so much. And yeah, anytime I can get anything maroon, that's gonna be my go-to color. Maroon was one of my high school colors, and I really loved that. I used kind of a long stitch length on that, but I'm okay with it. I am mad at you. I do actually kind of like this contrast stitching more than I thought I would. I am always a fan of it until I'm not. So this is why I'm doing this slider bar this way when I'm wearing it as a crossbody, as opposed to a backpack. I can tuck, you know, one of the rings in, and if it's a crossbody, I can just clip the lobster claw on both of these. I was gonna, like I said, do them fixed, and I decided not to because I don't want to have, you know, issues. I like to do mine about 1 3/4 inches up from the bottom. That's a pretty good, I think, like position for this. So, you know, you can measure with your heart on that, or you can measure specific. I like to be specific, so I make sure it doesn't come out crooked. As best as possible anyway. If you're not confident in clipping it on either side, you can make a little mark in the seam allowance. Remember, it's 1/4 inch seam allowances on this bag, so you'd have to make a teeny little mark, but you can make a mark at the base and make sure it stays lined up so that you make sure your strap's not, your little D-ring slider strap's not crooked. Right, and then the next thing we can do is we can take our liner and we can attach that to our back panel. Because I'm doing the binding and not the birthing method, I literally just attach, like I flat lay these and then just baste them all the way around. That's the easiest, in my opinion. I personally, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the pattern, but I just don't have good luck birthing this bag for a multitude of reasons. From the very first one I made, I had problems catching the liner, and I did not like that. And I didn't find that my curves turned out super nice. So if you're one of those people who's struggling with the Mav and getting the really nice curves on it, I would really suggest you try the binding method. I know a lot of you don't like binding. I know you hate it, but there's so many options for binding, because you can do the waterproof canvas if you like that, the Ollie Fun binding if you like that. Fold over elastic, I prefer the old school, regular old cotton double fold cotton bias binding is what I use. This kind. Every single time I buy it at Joann's when it's on sale, they're usually like buy 3 get 1, or buy 3 get 3 free, buy 2, or buy 3 get 2 free. They do the best sales on this around Thanksgiving. So you'll often find it on doorbuster sale for Black Friday, along with coupon or sale combinations. And you can get this stuff so cheap. So I buy it in every color, and I always get the same size. It's 3 yards, and it's the 1/2 inch wide. So it's wider than a 1/2 inch, but it's, when it's folded, it's 1/2 inch is what it, like, what one of these little pieces equals is a 1/2 inch, but this is folded over 4 times. So it's really 2 inch wide, like when you fold it all the way out, if you need to. And I've done binding many, many times on a whole bunch of videos, live videos and shop tutorials, so you can look at my binding method. It's the same way I'm going to do this one. But if you struggle with the curves on your Mav pack, seriously, I highly recommend binding. The other thing that can help you if you do it correctly is piping, but it's a whole extra step. So if you look at my other Mav videos, I did piping on those. I'm not doing piping today, but I'm going to use all the same methods. So just something to think about. I know I see that posted in the group a lot, where people are really struggling with those curves. And, you know, it's like, no matter how slow I sew, or no matter how, you know, whatever I do, I can't get this to work right. I can't get it to look good. And, you know, there are ways, but I know it's a struggle. So those are my little tips. I'm basting around the edge at just about 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to make sure I catch all the layers each time. If you get puckers on this step, you are going to want to take them out and redo them, because any puckers you get, it's going to show up in your final, you know, bag. You want to make sure this stays pretty flat and not puckery. Your vinyl might move or stretch a little bit, that's okay. I've had that happen on almost every single one of mine. Normal. Okay, so that stayed nice and flat all the way around. I maybe have, I guess that just kind of looks like a pucker. It's not actually, it just looks really weird. There's a little bit of a thing right back here, but it's nice and flat. So I'm okay with that. When I lay it down, it lays nice and flat, so I think we're totally good to go. I'm really happy with the colors of this gold and maroon and the red so far. I think it looks really nice. So our back panel at this point is complete. I've got my slip pocket on the inside. I did my tag. I've got my top piece, and I have my double D-rings for making it a backpack or crossbody if I put this together. So I've got all my pieces there. The next pieces I need to do are my zipper gusset. I'm going to prepare that. So I have 2 liners and 2 outside pieces, and then I've got somewhere around here zipper tape. Oops. Here's my zipper tape. I'm going with a bright red with maroon. I want to make sure that these zipper pulls actually look okay, because this is the only tape that I have that's this color, but it's not so bright gold that I think it's going to look wrong. But I guess we'll see. I'm going to audition one really quick. I did already know that I didn't have the right color to match. I might have some bronze tape in my stash that'll look okay. Yeah, I don't hate that. I think it's okay. It just looks like the pulls are more antique. And again, I mean, the front of this bag is so detailed, and it's got so many like shadows and other things on it. I think that looks good. So I'm happy with that. So I am going to pop this off really quick, and I'll just measure from the other end. This way I can get my tape the right measurement here, and I'll make it a little bit longer just in case, and then I can burn my ends. I like to do double zipper pulls on my Mavs, but that's totally personal preference. So the trick when you do doubles is to get one of them on here, and if you don't get these perfect, you get the bubble. But not only do you get the bubble, when you put 2 zipper pulls on and make them kiss in the middle, your bubble is twice as bad. So you gotta make sure you get this perfect from the get-go. You can't fudge it with a double, or it looks twice as bad. Sometimes if you get a bubble on your zipper, you can kind of fudge it, you know what I mean? But you can't do that on here. So you gotta keep going until you get it perfect. So that's one. And I'll tell you, this zipper doesn't love going both ways. Some zippers are cool with it. Technically there are some that are made to be 2-way, but I've never really had an issue doing 2. But this one, I want to make sure it'll be okay going both ways. And make sure the pulls are like cool with it too. Because some pulls just, you know, sometimes it's the pull, sometimes it's the zipper. They don't play well together. It's a shame to get all the way on a fancy bag like this and then not have it, you know what I mean? Not have it be perfect, but I think this zipper just needs a little exercising. I think it's okay. I think we'll be all right. So yeah, I prefer the double zipper pull on this bag. I just think it looks better. Okay, pick a side, any side, and go ahead and work on your zipper, and you're just making a zipper sandwich. So one on each side of a liner piece of your gusset and the regular outer body. Outer body goes toward the pretty side of the zipper. So pretty sides together, right sides together on your zipper. And then do your lining. I'm going to make sure this year when we go on vacation, so I'm really excited because the last couple of years we haven't taken real vacation. So my husband and I, our hangout place has always been Walt Disney World. We got engaged in Walt Disney World. We both, went there just once as kids, but we both, obviously really enjoyed it as kids, and it held really special places for us as children. And, we both like a lot of Disney content. We're probably what most people would consider Disney adults. And yeah, so Disney holds a special place for us, and we really enjoy going to Disney for our vacation. And the last couple of years, we haven't gotten to take real vacation. What's happened is we've rolled our vacation together with work stuff, and we just, it has a different vibe. We used to go and leave all the work stuff at home, not bring anything with us. We stay on property every time we go to Disney so that we can do what they call escaping into the Disney bubble, which sounds crazy, but the first time I stayed off property after staying on property for so long, I was like, I'm never doing that again. If you can obviously afford to do that, I think it's a pretty major difference in the vibe of the vacation. It's very different. And so we stay on property and we just hang out there and don't think about the real world for usually 7 to 10 days is the length of the trip, depending on what we're doing. The last few times we've gone, we've taken a shorter 3 to 5 day trip, and we've done work stuff for 4 or 5 days before we go on vacation. And that's been 2021 and 2022. We are not doing that anymore. It's just not a real vacation. It's not as enjoyable. And we are so exhausted from doing work stuff that by the time our vacation comes up at the end, we're just tired. We're tired and kind of grumpy and don't really want to go do all the things we normally enjoy doing because we just want to rest. And so we're oh, do we have to go do that? I don't want to go do that. And that's a bummer. So I'm really looking forward to getting back to our chosen vacation method and our kind of way of doing all of that. And yeah, that'll be really nice because I really miss actually getting to spend time with my husband. So I'm really looking forward to that, and it'll be on our normal dates kind of around Christmas time when we go, and that's what I'm sewing this bag for. But I want to make sure all of my sewing is done early because this year we're taking our new RV to Fort Wilderness at Disney. So normally we just stay in the hotels, but this will be the first time we're getting to bring our RV. We've never done that at Disney. I'm really excited to do it. And I always hear that people who stay at Fort Wilderness decorate their campsite with Christmas decorations. And I have a really cute idea for Christmas decor around our bus. We have a Class A RV, which is a large, it's a 40-foot bus. And I'm excited to decorate the outside of the camp area and the bus itself for Christmas. I think that's going to be really fun. So I want to make sure by the time our trip rolls around, I have, everything I need done sewing-wise and everything else so I can just focus on that. So I'm very, very excited to get back to our normal routine and then, add a few new things in there too. That will be very nice. And this year, 2023 has been, I don't know how it's been for you guys. I mean, obviously, look, 2020 was not great for us. We were living in the same world everyone else was. It's, you know, pandemic and all of that, but good grief. 2023 has been quite a doozy. It's been something else. I don't know if it's been like that for y'all, but like this has, in a different way than like 2020 and 2021, but it's been a hard year, and I'm like already ready for vacation. I'm ready for the holidays already. Like my in-laws are coming this year to visit us, which I love when they come, so I'm really excited that they're going to be here. We've done a lot of things to the house since the last time they were here, and we love spending time with them. Dang it, it's the wrong way. We love spending time with them, and it really makes it feel more like the holidays. I mean, my husband and I, it's just the two of us, and sometimes we go back, you know, home for Thanksgiving, but you know, that can get a little hard with work and stuff and time off and just all those good things. So it's I'm really excited that they're coming. I think that's going to be really fun. Obviously, I'm hosting, and it's been a couple years since I've done a turkey, but I've always had really good turkeys. I do a ton of research to make sure. I was always terrified when I was younger about like my first Thanksgiving and like, oh my gosh, what if I burn the turkey? You know, that's like the cliche sitcom thing, right? Is like the first time host wife for Thanksgiving, like she burns the turkey, you know, that National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation moment when like, you know, the wife who actually, Eddie's wife who comes in the RV and she puts the turkey in for too long and it's so dry and they're all like dipping it in the water. That was I was always terrified that was going to happen to me, and it was going to be so embarrassing and like in my life, you know, when you're like younger and you see these things and you think that's how it's going to be. So I did research years ago about like all these methods, how to, you know, cook a turkey, and I watched videos and I like I went like a little overboard on it. But I've always had a really great turkey, so I consider that a success then. So I'm going to need to dig out all my turkey research because it's been maybe 6 years since I've done a turkey. Corey and I, when it's just the two of us, I just do ham. I do like a little honey baked ham or like a little spiral ham. And then, you know, it's just, I do all the same fixings, but it's just the two of us. And frankly, I also do ham at Christmas, so I like doing turkey because, you know, it feels more like Thanksgiving. It kind of bums me out to have to do ham, but like we can't eat a whole turkey ourselves. We never get through the leftovers, and it's so expensive. So I'm kind of excited, and we're currently going through like a little mini kitchen. It's not really a remodel, it's more like a repair. And kind of like a, well, while we're here situation, which like the timing could not be worse. So we have a large kitchen island. It's got a sink in it. And years ago when we first moved in here, we were just crazy busy, and I did not have time to deal with cleaning. And my husband, bless his heart, was like, well, we can get some help for you, like a little bit of a cleaning service or whatever. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. But I'll tell you guys, I've always been mortified about having a cleaning service. And I've only done it a few times in my life. I've never had one regularly, but sometimes when things get out of hand or like you just need some assistance or you need like a really deep clean or whatever. So I was like, okay. And there was this lady that was in our neighborhood. She came really highly recommended. She was super sweet. And when she came here, she was doing fabulous. I really enjoyed it. And I thought, okay, I need to let my hang-ups about this go, right? Like this is a privilege, and she's really great at what she does, and everything looks amazing, and like I don't have to worry about this, you know? But I was always a little terrified. I've just heard a lot of horror stories about like, you know, bad things happening, things getting ruined, like just, you know, things happen. Well, we had just built this house, and, you know, I painstakingly picked out all these finishes and kind of got my, you know, dream kitchen kind of a thing. And um, so the gal that had been coming was really great. Well, she told us, oh, my business is taking off, you know, it's getting really busy. And we were like, oh, congratulations, that's amazing, you know. And she says, yeah, but the problem is, I don't have enough people on my team, you know, and I'm getting really spread thin, so I've got some new girls on the team. And I thought, okay, no problem, you know, like, I'm sure they're fine, you know, and she had really high standards and stuff, so I'm thinking, you know, no big deal, everything's fine. I'm gonna have to, my liner got a little short on that side, so I'm gonna have to trim it, I think. So anyway, I'm actually in here in my sewing room one day doing whatever work I was doing. I don't remember, preparing for something, I'm sure. And we'd had them here about 3 or 4 times total. So like over a couple, you know, months, like they came like once a month or like once every 3 weeks. Well, I hear like the most horrendous like banging, like it's shaking the walls banging. I mean, this was loud, and I didn't want to hover, like be weird, but the kitchen is right outside here, and I just thought, what is happening? And these bangings, oh my gosh, they were so loud. And I kept thinking, like, I don't want to go out there and say something. I don't want to hover. I don't want to be weird. But finally I went out and I didn't really see anything, but I thought, oh my gosh, what is this noise? Like, this is insane. This is so loud. And so, you know, I don't really know what happened. I'm just stepping away to trim this. But I'm thinking, okay, well, everything's fine. So I just kind of, you know, made an excuse to like come out and get a drink or something, you know, to like check. I didn't see anything, and I thought, okay, I must be imagining things, but it's really loud. And so I just kind of went on about my business. Well, a little bit of time goes by, and I hear the loud banging and like mashing and all this again. And I'm like, okay, this is not a coincidence. Like, what is happening here? So I go back out, and I can see they're cleaning the sink, but I don't really see anything like out of sorts. And I'm just like, okay, well, all right. And we have gas at this house. So the stove is gas, and there are these big iron grates on the stove. And the big iron grates, I mean, they weigh a lot. They were in the sink. I didn't really think anything of it. I just was like, okay, well, they're cleaning that, I guess. Like, okay, no big deal. Like, I'm just being paranoid. Well, when they left, I saw some marks. Like, they had left, they went, and I went to put my drink glass in the sink from when I'd come out earlier. And there were these marks in the sink. And I thought, oh, that's kind of weird. They just must have missed these. And so I go to clean them off. Well, we have a cast iron sink, a white cast iron enamel sink. And if you know anything about those, they are like tough as nails. I mean, it's cast iron and it's covered in thick, thick enamel, and they last, you know, hundreds of years. There are vintage cast iron enamel sinks all over this country. That it's known as like the farmhouse sink because you put them in farmhouses and workplaces, and like they are tough. So, and I've had them in a lot of houses. I love them. We've remodeled all of our previous homes ourselves, and I've always put one in because I just love the timeless look of them, and they're tough. So I am very perplexed at these marks on the sink, and I'm kind of scrubbing them, and I can hear my fingernails like making like in a rut. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what in the world? Now, granted, at this time when this happened, this is about 2 years ago now. Or not even quite 2 years ago. In fact, it was about a year and not quite 6 months even. And I thought, oh my gosh, there are like big gouges in the sink in the porcelain. And if you know anything about those sinks too, if you do damage them, it takes a lot to damage them. But if you do, they're iron, cast iron, and sinks are wet. And what ends up happening is they rust. And so I am like just heartbroken. Those sinks are expensive. And also at this house, it's the first time we've ever had one put in with the builder. Well, when the builder does them, they do them undermounted, which means they put the cabinets down, then they put the sink, then they put the big countertop over it. When we've done them in past, whenever we remodel, we don't undermount. I've always done them on top because, we're doing it ourselves. And I don't mind that look. It's just a different look. But it's easier if you have an issue to get the sink off to fix it. Well, This one is undermounted, and it's under this huge, thick piece of quartz countertop, and my heart sank. I thought there must be something on the sink, so I tried to scrub it, and then the more I realized, it was like, no, there were gouges, and they were so deep, you guys, in this sink. And so we're about a year after now, and the sink, it's rusty all the time. The whole bottom of it, it's not, glossy white anymore. It's like rusted, and it's rusted through, and eventually it will rust through the metal. I mean, it'll take many, many years, but it will rust through. And when this happened, I was absolutely heartbroken. I felt really bad, but it's like, I don't know who the gals were that were sent here this time. And I did call the lady, and she, tried to say, oh, you can file against my insurance. And I thought, no, I don't really want to do that. I know she didn't do it on purpose, but I wanted to let her know, like, the gal that you sent here today was not gentle. I know she's new, but like, oh my gosh, like, and I'm just thinking, you're going to go to somebody's house and, ruin some kind of an heirloom or something, and they probably are going to file on your insurance. I felt so bad for the owner. She was so nice. And that was kind of the end of the cleaning service situation. It was like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. So that was like my worst nightmare as far as cleaning services go. I'm always terrified of stuff like that. Like, if you let someone in, they're gonna do, a bad job or like ruin something. And I was so sad. And so we've been living with it, but it's slowly, the rust has been getting worse and worse. So we actually need to have something done to our countertop. And while we're having that done, we're actually having them cut our countertop down. When we built this house, the builder made it really big, and that's great, but it's too big. And so we're actually having them cut it down to make the island a little smaller. And while they're taking it off, the deal is that we're having them cut that. And so I said, if I get a new sink, can you please reinstall a new sink? Because they have to take the sink out anyway. So they said, yeah, sure, not a problem. We don't care if we install the old one or the new one as long as it's the same sink. So I had to reorder the sink and do all that. Well, that's being done next week. So anyway, that'll be done, and we'll have the smaller sink. And so we're actually turning our kitchen. We're getting rid of like a portion of the island so we can put a table in our kitchen so we can have an eat-in kitchen. And so that'll be done. So by the time Thanksgiving rolls around, we'll have kind of this new kitchen situation and the new sink, which won't be damaged anymore, which I'm so relieved. I'm bummed to have done it, but I mean, things happen. I would say it's just as easy. I could do it, but I don't really think that's true, because you really have to, when I tell you whatever was happening out in that kitchen, I don't know if she just like picked this stuff up and just dropped it, like dropped it, because I just don't even know how you do that. But anyway, yeah, but things happen. I think she was maybe just having a bad day or something. I don't know. And I feel terrible for that owner, and I really hope, I consider not saying anything, because what's the point? I mean, I wasn't going to make her pay for it. I mean, I mostly just wanted her to know, because I didn't want her to be blindsided that, like, you have this person working for you that, might cause some, I mean, ours was real damage, but you know what I mean? Like, what if she had ruined flooring or something? That would be a way more expensive fix, and some people are not very nice when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I would just, I felt like I needed to tell her. It was not a conversation I wanted to have, but I felt so bad when I told her. But anyway, yes, I'm very happy to get that done with, because I'm really tired of my rusty kitchen sink all the time. It's very ugly, and I always have to use like chemicals to get it out, but it only stays out for like 24 hours, and then it comes back. So so much for getting help around the house. That was one of those things that, again, like, silly when I was younger, but you would hear things, like you'd hear horror stories and stuff, and I was like, oh, I'm never gonna have anybody help me, I don't need help. And then I got older, and it was like, oh, I need help. Sometimes you just need help to catch up. And but I was always a little terrified of that, like, what if they ruin stuff? So I'm sure most of them are totally fine, like most house cleaning services, and it was just a weird fluke, I'm sure. Because we've had other services in the past just occasionally and never had that kind of an issue, but now that it happened, I'm like terrified and I don't ever want to have another service. Because I just don't want to have to deal with this again. But this is also the first time I've had an undermounted sink, and I don't know if I would do that again either. Because, you know, things do happen, and it's like, what if you need to fix it? Now you have to take the whole countertop off, and that's not something that like your average homeowner can just do, you know. Countertops, you risk breaking them when you take them off too. That's the other problem, and they're so heavy. They're so big and heavy when they're, you know, even like a normal long piece, right? They're just huge. Countertops are big. So, just one of those things, just life. But yeah, I will be very happy to go on vacation this year, have the in-laws for holidays, get back to our normal vacation. And then I'm really excited, obviously, to stay at Fort Wilderness and decorate and do that whole shebang. And I have a cool idea. For all that. So hopefully I'll have time to actually execute that. Because I think it'll be fun. I really like things like that where you do like kind of group participation, right? Like everyone does their campsite, so the whole place looks interesting and different. I always think that's really fun when everyone kind of gets into the spirit of the thing. Some of the newer RVs, ours is I can't remember what year it is. But some of the brand new RVs anyway, they have like lights that you can change the color of them, which I think is really neat. Ours does not do that. And so I'm like, oh, how perfect would that be for this Christmas situation if you could change the color of the lights on it? But ours are just like a white blue. Karen said, I was the same way after staying on property for years and years. We decided to stay off property. Never again. I have to stay on property enjoying the Disney ambiance. I know, it's such a weird thing, right? Like once you do it, I don't know, it's just different. I can't even really explain the vibe. It's just a very different feel. And Disney is already very expensive anyway, honestly. But it's too expensive to like go there and not have, you know, the feeling that you want. So, you know, some people really have a place they like to stay off property and they love that, or, you know, it might be a budget issue or whatever. So it's not like, you know, I mean, look, if I had to choose about never going to Disney again or staying off property, like obviously I would want to go. But we're just so used to having our, oh, good grief, this gusset is off too. I guess I wasn't, I don't know, I don't think maybe I cut one of these longer than the other, but I don't think so. I think it just got rolled. It's not really off, I guess. Okay, clipped it funky. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it to people, and I try to explain it to people who have never been to Disney, and it's like, well, I mean, if you've never been, you won't really know, but once you stay on property and then you stay off, like, there's a difference, like, it's just different. I know one of the things that people really like, and we do utilize Disney transportation, but one thing we've learned over the past few years, and this is just something that works for us, we drive there anyway, so we always have a car, and we have discovered that driving for us at Disney is a way better prospect. Long time ago, we used to use the buses, but the buses are just, it's different now. Like, they've kind of changed the scheduling some the last, you know, many years we've been there, and it's like sometimes we have good luck with the buses and other times we don't. We're constantly late or missing. Like the buses just never show up. Even though they're supposed to run every 15 minutes, and we end up staying at a bus stop for, you know, the last time this happened to us, we were at a bus stop at a hotel for like 45 minutes and no bus ever came. And we walked to the front desk and we were like, hey, is there like an issue? Like, is there ever going to be a bus? Do the buses not run here? Like, you know, did we miss the memo kind of a thing? And they were like, no, there should be a bus. We'll call a bus. And then we walked back down and there was still no bus. And it wasn't just us waiting. It was a whole bunch of people. And we're like, did another bus come? And no bus came. And we've had that happen a few times. So we kind of gave up on the bus thing. We, you know, like I said, we drive anyway. So we just do what works for us and then we don't have to get disappointed, I guess. But it is frustrating. It's like we, many years ago now, went on trips where the buses were phenomenal. Like we loved them. And there really was a bus like every 10 minutes and they weren't overly crowded and it was easy to do that. And now it's different. So we don't do the buses as much anymore, but we'll still occasionally do them. And we do the Skyliner a bit, but that thing scares me. I just don't like heights. I don't like heights and I don't like being stuck in a box with the swaying. It's windy there, so yeah, I'm a chicken. I don't even ride like half the rides. Not half the rides, maybe a third of the rides at Disney that are too scary for me. I know when we go this year, my husband is going to want me to go on Tron, and I'm terrified. I really don't love Tron. Like the idea of it, I haven't even watched a video of it yet because I just know it's going to freak me out. My husband also loves the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. And I went on it one time and I screamed the whole time and kept my eyes closed. It's just, that's a lot for me. The most terrifying ride to me is Splash Mountain ride. I'm going to have to go on it when they rebrand it just because, you know, it's Tiana and I love Tiana. And I'm going to have to say that I tried it, but I just do not like that ride. It's terrified me since I was a little kid. That was like some legit trauma for me with my mom and going on that ride, and it was traumatic. I mean, I was little, and I asked if there were any big drops, and she told me no, and it was a dirty, rotten trick, and that was terrible. We sat in the front row. I was very little. I couldn't have been older than 5, and I still remember plummeting down into that dark hole, and I thought I was going to die. That ride creeps me out so bad. So every time I'm in line for that ride, the whole time I wait for it, I like make my peace with the Lord kind of a thing, because I swear I'm going to not make it through. Yeah, I cannot stand that ride. But I have to go on it because I love Tiana and I want to see what they do, you know, for the redo. So I'll be really interested to see how it goes. But yeah, once I ride it like one time, I don't need to ride it. But we went on Guardians recently and I just screamed and kept my eyes closed the whole time. Every once in a while I ride Space Mountain. The Disneyland one is better than the Disney World one. I don't love the Disney World one. It scares me for sure. I'm such a chicken. But yeah, I'll go on it every once in a while at Disneyland. I just went on it with Susie from So Girly Fun. She and I were at Disneyland together and we went on it. And it wasn't so bad, but the Disney World one terrifies me. And I just hold my breath the whole time. Like, I'm really proud of myself when I can keep my eyes open for like 30 seconds. When I just rode it with Susie, I told my husband, I texted him after and I said, you'd be so proud of me. I kept my eyes open almost the whole time. That ride freaks me out. But yeah, Guardians, he was like, didn't you love Guardians? And I'm just like, no, it's so scary. He got me to go on at the time, it was California Screaming still. It hadn't been rebranded as the Incredible Coaster or whatever at Disneyland. And he told me, oh, it won't be that bad. It's not that scary. I swear it's not that scary. Oh my gosh, that ride is terrifying. And that was so scary. I have been on that one time. I've never been on Rock and Roller Coaster, which is basically just the same track, I hear anyway. as California Screamin'. So I'm like, do I even need to go on it? Maybe not. Yeah, those are the rides I won't really go on, but I know he's going to want to go on Guardians, and I know he's going to want to go on Tron. Oh my gosh, the Hagrid's motorbike ride at Universal, you guys, talk about terrifying. I wanted to love it so much, and I did go on it. I sat in the bike part, in the not the bike, the little, there's a sidecar, that's what it's called. There's a sidecar and there's the bike part. And I rode in the little sidecar and just held on to my body for dear life the whole time. I put my head down and I opened my eyes for like, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds, that whole ride combined. And then I just screamed the whole time. And my husband, like, he thought it was so much fun. He thought it was so thrilling and amazing and was like, that's the best ride in the world. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's scary. Yeah, I'm such a chicken. We only go to Universal every few years because we only go there for Harry Potter stuff. I don't even ride like any of the other rides barely. We do a few of them, but they're all too big and scary for me. That's why I like going in groups sometimes, because there's other people to go on stuff with my husband that he likes. I feel terrible. I mean, he knows I will go on anything that he asks me to because I don't want him to miss out, but he just doesn't like to torture me, which is very sweet of him. And there are very few rides that he doesn't like, so he likes coasters. I almost went on the Velosa coaster, but luckily he got to go on a work trip, and he was like, it's probably good you didn't go on that because you would not have liked it. And I'm thinking, good, I'm glad you got to go with work people. Now I don't have to. We went to Universal with Kathy from Ice Said. Kathy Ice Said from Ice Said Creations. We went with her. And Melanie and Lily from Zorel were there. And, Stephanie. Ooh. Burned my finger. Stephanie Boone's Comb from Ice Said as well. She's like Kathy's assistant. She was there. And Jennifer Loma was also there, and can't remember if Michelle was there for that. I don't think Michelle was there for that. I think I went to Epcot with her. It's hard to keep it straight sometimes. I don't think Michelle was there, but she might have been there at Universal. But anyway, we all went together, and I was very thankful that there were other people there to go on the rides with my husband. So I didn't have to go on the scary ones. Like, obviously I was there to have fun with them, but it was also a nice thing. So I'm pretty happy with the colors on that gusset. I think they're pretty good. This piece turned out a little like wispy, but I think when it's curved, I don't think we're going to see it at all. So I'm okay with that. And so now I just have to finish the gusset. I'm so low energy on this sew along or whatever you want to call this tonight. This really isn't like any kind of a tutorial or anything. This is just me screwing around. And I just thought I would do it live, you know, just 'cause I like to live dangerously. I'm really, really excited to take regular vacation this year. We did take vacation last year, but we were just discussing this trip. So we went, my husband and I have never been to Europe, and we went to Europe last year, and fabulous trip, really just phenomenally amazing, but not our typical vacation. And, you know, therefore that just kind of means like, you know, it's, you know, it's not your typical vacation, right? So when you, like when we go to Disney, we've been there enough that we know like our favorite places to go and people to see and things to do, right? Like it's relaxing because we already know what's up, right? Like it's not, there's usually a few new experiences, but the whole thing in general, it's kind of like we already know what's going on, if that makes any sense. Well, obviously going to Europe wasn't like that. We were in whole new countries with whole new languages and new customs, new people. And that was really great, but I wouldn't call it relaxing, that's for sure. It was an adventure. And while we loved it, it was amazing. We were, you know, it's a lot. It's physically taxing. And then the other thing is we were sick the whole time. Like not the whole time. I think 3/4 of the trip probably. We got colds. We didn't have COVID because we tested. So we knew it wasn't COVID. It was cold. We went to Germany and surrounding areas in December. And I mean, I didn't really think it was a bad idea, but it was probably a bad idea. First of all, they had a horrible cold snap that even the locals were like, it's not normally this cold right now. Like, this is really cold. It was like in the negatives several of the days that we were there, and we did not dress for that. I brought regular winter clothing. I looked everything up and I thought, okay, if I bring like, you know, down jackets, down vests, long sleeve shirts, scarves, wool socks, long stuff, you know, and wear layers and all of this. Oh no, we were wearing every single layer that we brought with like vest on vest on vest on top of 2 sweaters on top, you know, with a jacket on top and a scarf tucked in, and we were absolutely freezing. And we tried to buy coats, but the problem is, you know, my husband is 6 foot tall. I am 5'11". I am a size, you know, anywhere from a 12 to a 16. And, you know, he's basically about my same size, just in men's sizing. And we couldn't find anything that fit us. Like nowhere. We went everywhere that we could possibly get to. And there was just nothing. And we were absolutely freezing. So that was a thing that we didn't count on it. And we tried desperately to find, I even had a hard time finding women's socks in my size. The women over there really are, a lot of them are smaller. I don't know. I mean, a lot of them are not. So I don't know where they were shopping. They were sized like me, but it was tough. So don't rely on clothing, you know, if you go over there, unless you're very petite, which I am not. It's a thing you're going to have to deal with. And, you know, we just didn't know. So, anyway, yeah, and we were, you know, sick, and you can't really, their doctors book up like weeks in advance, and when these colds did not go away after like, you know, 6 days and some odd, and it just kept going and going, we were getting worse, and that's the worst cold I've ever had in my life. We were both running really high fevers and all kinds of stuff, so it was fine, but it was, you know, that put a little bit of a damper, and, you know, when you're that sick, there's no such thing as like just tough it out, you know, and we didn't want to get other people sick either, so we stayed in our room and stayed on the ship, didn't go out for excursions. We were on a cruise, and you know, we had to take time off, time out, and deal with that. But the whole last half of the trip, for sure, solidly, like, we were so sick. I was ready to go home, and it was like, I'm just sick, and they don't have a lot of medicine there. They don't have medicine like we do, I should say that. Like here, you know, you go down to the drugstore aisle and you have your pick of all the different types of medicine that you want, right? So like if you like NyQuil or you like Robitussin or whatever, like you can get that. That is not a thing there. You go to the apothecary, you talk to the chemist, and the chemist has one thing, they give it to you, and it's like, that's it. And they tell you, you know, you can only take this for 3 days, and they only give you 3 days worth of a portion. And if you need more, you know, you have to come back. They're just very serious about it. It's just a different totally different culture. And while I can respect that, it was really tough. And pharmacies are not open on Sunday. And of course, we were sick over Sundays, so it's like if you one of the days, one of us got sick, then the other one of us got sick, and it just lingered for a long time. And when I had to go out and get medicine for my husband, it was over a Sunday, and there was nothing I could do. So it was like, okay, we'll get back on the boat and hope that we port somewhere tomorrow where there's a pharmacy, you know. So it was crazy. Like things that you take for granted and don't really think about. So while it was all good and an enjoyable trip, it was for sure an adventure. It was not what I would call relaxing. And we were both actually laying awake in bed last night talking about all the things, you know, just laughing and talking about all the things we enjoyed and all the funny things we experienced and all the interesting things and stuff we missed and stuff we wouldn't maybe do again and, you know, all that. And what an amazing memory it was and what a privilege it was to be able to go there and just all of it. And then we were talking about how excited we were to go to Disney and just have brunch at our favorite spots. You know, we have such a like specific routine of things we like to do when we're there, like, and that's been a little screwed up too because of COVID. Like there are things, so our go-to thing always forever was our first night when we were there, we would always go to Epcot and have Chinese food at the Nine Dragons restaurant. Well, Nine Dragons was closed for so long, even after COVID. It was such a bummer. So our new place is to go to Taipan Edo and have Japanese, I forget the name of it, where they cook on the flat top in front of you. I cannot think of the name. Hibachi? Is that the right name? We have out here in the real world, we have a version of it too. And I cannot think of the name either right now. It totally escapes me. But, somebody help me, please. I'm floundering. I cannot think of the name. Oh, crap. Okay, Benihana is the name of the restaurant, and whatever Benihana is, that's what you do at Taipan Edo. It's the same thing. They build the little onion volcano, and they squirt the stuff in it, and it comes out, and they sing the little songs, they do all the little fun things. So that's our new, like, tradition. We've been going there and doing that. Just measuring my gusset, by the way. I think it got just a little wonky. I don't know if I really care, because I don't think it's, like, too far off that it's going to matter. I'm like 1/8 of an inch longer right there. See that? I just don't think it's going to matter in the end. It might, because again, 1/4 inch seam allowances, so that's half of the seam allowance. I probably should trim it. I'm gonna trim it. Anyway, we go to Taipan Edo. That's our new traditional thing now, and our favorite place to get breakfast is actually an Italian restaurant on the boardwalk area. That's our like best kept secret, so we're excited to do that. Yeah, you know, we're just excited to like get back to our normal thing. And then of course, because we're insane, we're like, so what country are we going to go to next? What crazy places are we going to go explore? So I'm sure at some point we'll do some more foreign travel because we really did love it. It was so much fun to experience other cultures. I loved trying all the food. That was so fun. I really didn't have anything in Germany or Austria or Hungary that I didn't love. I'm still dreaming about Hungarian wine. Hungarian wine is delicious. If you're a red wine lover, you've got to try Hungarian wine. I'm telling you. I'll be completely honest with you. I didn't even know that was a thing. I've never heard of Hungarian wine. Like, you always hear about, you know, Italian wine, you know, Washington Reds, Napa Cabs, all this stuff. Oh no, Hungarian wine blows them all out of the water. Like, absolutely out of the water. I did not know that Hungary has a whole bunch of wine regions. They have like 7 of them, and they are fantastic. We didn't get to visit any of them, and I didn't know, so I didn't plan for it. So if you're planning on going overseas and you go to Hungary, I highly advise you check out the wine scene, because oh my gosh, amazing. Yes, I tried so many pastries and desserts and all kinds of amazing things. If you are kind of like me and you're a little bit chicken about international travel and you're thinking like someday I'm gonna go, you know, but you have any hang-ups about it, obviously I can't speak to every country, but that whole area over there in Germany, it's positively fascinating and really beautiful, and the people were very, very friendly, and we really enjoyed our time there. So I would absolutely say, if you're thinking about going, go, do it, and don't hesitate. We waited for so long because, you know, one, finances, but we just were like, I don't know if we're gonna belong. I don't know if, you know, we'll be welcome. If, you know, you always hear these things about, you know, culture clashes and different things, right? And that can be a little hard, and I'm sure that it is, but if you just go over and you're on your best behavior, you meet a lot of really nice people. And I don't think you're going to regret it. My vinyl moved and I have a bubble. Boo. Hate when that happens. Yeah, as much as we enjoyed that trip, we're excited to get back to our same old, same old. And then we'll take an adventure in another year or two. At the end of this year, because like I was saying earlier, 2023 has been absolute madness, and just not even neutral chaos. It's been like legit chaos. Because of all of that, there's just no way I would chance. The way the stars are aligning for me this year, there's no way I would chance any kind of crazy adventure in 2023. Not for me. I'm going to go to Disney, and I'm going to go on Big Thunder Mountain, and I'm going to eat churros. And I'm just going to wait for this year to go by the wayside and then never think about anybody or anything from this year again. Please and thank you. I don't know if you're having a 2023 like me, but if you are, just remember, this too shall pass. This has been a crazy, crazy year, but it'll pass, it'll go away. Okay, I gotta figure out, I want to make sure I don't have a weirdo bubble in here, and some of this vinyl like wants to stretch. I don't like it, but when I lay it out, it's fine, so I don't know why it's doing that. But I wish it wouldn't. When I pull it this way, it's fine. We'll try this again, shall we? Maybe, sometimes when I have stretchy vinyl like this, I'll actually start in the middle, like from here, and work my way to one side. And then I'll kind of backtrack my way, if that makes any sense. It can help sometimes with the weird stretching, and since I had movement that last time, that's enough for me. Karen said, my daughter and I automatically head to Haunted Mansion as soon as we get to Disney. That's our ride. Yes, we have, we always go toward Adventureland first. I don't know, when we get to Magic Kingdom, that's our thing. And Epcot, I don't know, we're 50-50. If we come in through the front gate, I think we always go, we go toward Canada and France. Because one of the big things is we love the beer in Germany. So we'll go, we'll kind of go that way first so we can have that, and then we have it the rest of the way around the world. So that's a big reason for us going that direction. And we used to always go to the German cuckoo clock store which I'm so sad they closed down at COVID, and I don't know if they're ever going to open it again. I wish they would. Such a bummer. And I'm really glad years ago, oh my gosh, we toiled with this decision. We really wanted, my husband is German, and we didn't know if we were ever going to make it to Germany. And so we were like, oh, we love these cuckoo clocks. And we were there on our anniversary. And so as our anniversary gift, to each other, we bought one of those cuckoo clocks. And we still have it, still up on the wall. We love it. And it was like the most expensive thing we'd ever bought at that point. For us to spend money on something like that, it was like, that was a huge, 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 huge deal outside of a car or our house. But like, we didn't buy expensive stuff like that ever. Couldn't really afford to either. But it was like, well, we're never going to make it to Germany. So, and at the time that wasn't feasible for us. And so we were like, we'll just buy this cuckoo clock. And I'm really glad that we did, because now that store's not there anymore. It's just such a bummer. But that used to be one of our things too. Like, we always used to go over and watch the little train in Germany and go to the cuckoo clock store and get strudel and beer. I might have told this story before, but one time when we were in Epcot, my husband spilled strudel all over me and up my shorts. Yes, up my shorts. I was sitting on a bench. We had just gotten to Germany, and the strudel comes on like one of those little brown like trough things, and he had gotten apple strudel. I don't even remember if I got strudel, but I was wearing these like running shorts, right? So they're like the Nike style running shorts that are made of like windbreaker material, and they have like a slit on the side, right? That goes like on, if you're looking at the thigh on the side, it like goes up like this. And so I sat down, so the slit, the pant leg was kind of open a little bit, the way that like the windbreaker material sat, and just all that, right? Well, the strudel, he was eating it, and he was standing next to me, and so I'm sitting on the bench, he's standing next to me, and he was like, oh, hold my beer or something, and I kind of went to take it, and I went like this, I kind of turned, and the strudel fell, and it fell like on the side of my leg, but because of the way the shorts were gapping and that little slit and everything, it like fell up my shorts and all over the side of my leg, and it's sticky gooey apple filling and pastry, and it was everywhere, and I felt so bad. He was like a little kid who dropped his ice cream. He loves apple strudel, and so he just looked so very sad, like, oh my god. But then of course he felt horrible. He just like spilled it all over me, and it's sticky and it's messy, and I'm just like, oh my god, what do I do? And there's like no napkins anywhere, and so it was kind of around like closing time or something, because I remember there were like no cast members anywhere, and the place where we had just gotten the strudel, I think they closed up. I don't remember, but we had to walk all the way to the little pavilion in Morocco and like Africa or whatever that area is, where it's like the little outdoor, to find a quick service so I could get a cup of water. And I wanted water and napkins so I could like flush off my shorts and clean all of this. And the people at the counter were like, you want what? And I was like, just a cup of water and lots of napkins. And I kind of showed them, and we had to like step back out of line. There was no one around. This was pre-COVID. And there was no one around in the park for whatever reason. And so they're laughing. Like, we made their day. It was so entertaining, because I'm like, you gotta splash it like up my shorts. There's like apple pieces in my shorts. And so he's like splashing it, like trying to rub it down my leg. And we're like, he's patting me with the napkins, and I'm splashing it and like hopping around, trying to get all this apple out of my shorts. Yeah, it was totally ridiculous, but so funny. Which, by the way, I did my little trick starting from the middle, and now I have no bubble anymore. So just, if you ever have that happen, you can start in the middle basting. Like you can see, I started here and basted to the edge, and then came here and basted, and it helped. So clearly with this stretchy vinyl, that's what I gotta do. Anyway, so that's definitely a Disney core memory for me, and every time we go by the apple strudel place, he kind of makes jokes like, am I allowed to get apple strudel, and I'm like, as long as I don't sit under you while you eat it. Karen says, the store, we had a special doll made for my daughter. She was 24 at the time. She's 47, and she still has that doll, and it looks just like her. I didn't know they had a store that made dolls. That's pretty cool. And I love that she has it. I love those kinds of, I have a lot of those kinds of things, you know, that are not just from Disney, but we do have a lot of those types of things from Disney. I'm assuming that was in Magic Kingdom, or did they do that in Epcot? Can't imagine they did it at Hollywood Studios, and for sure probably not Animal Kingdom. Huh. I never knew that they did that. I've never heard of it. Maybe they still have it. I don't know, and I just wasn't aware. It's kind of like American Girl, right? Where they have like where they do all that. Maybe it was in Disney Springs. At the time, it would have been Pleasure Island, right? If they even had that back then, I don't know. That's amazing, though. That's many, many, many years that she still has that. How cool. And Sansa says the clock store is open, which that's cool. Oh, she says it was in Germany, and the doll makers from Germany were there at Epcot. Wow, that's really cool. I wonder, for all I know, maybe that was in the clock store or something. I know that they had a lot of interesting things in that clock store, but I was always enamored by the cuckoo clocks. Thank you for telling me that it's open, Sansa, because I will be very excited to go back there. We've looked for it. We haven't been there in almost a year, but we looked for it last time we were there, and it wasn't open, and we thought just the Werther's caramel place was open, and then the restaurant, of course. So we were really bummed. It was like, oh, I want that to, I want to go back there. I miss that place. So cool. Well, this side of my vinyl did not get the bubble. I just did this one all the way through, so I'm not sure. This roll of vinyl is a little odd, I'll be honest. It's been doing kind of weird things this whole time, but the gusset is finally done. And my linings are done, which means we can assemble the whole bag. I don't know if I'm going to do the binding tonight, but it's not like you guys haven't seen me do, binding before. So once it's assembled, like that's what it looks like. You just put binding on top of it. I don't even know what time it is. Probably late. And I probably need to not stay up super late since I haven't been feeling all that great. But, but I'm sewing. Sansa said, I'm an annual pass holder. So we actually are APs as well, finally. So this is so funny. And now I'm just not willing to let it go. We wanted to become annual pass holders for so long, but we don't live local, obviously, but for many years now, that's always been our thing. So our anniversary is actually my birthday, and we were married on my birthday too, kind of mostly by accident, to be honest, but it just kind of happened that way, and it sort of worked out. And I've never particularly loved my birthday, so I really liked turning it into something else, right? And so we were engaged on my birthday at Disney. And then we got married on my birthday, not at Disney, but just we got married on my birthday the following year. And then we've gone back there every year for, my birthday is very close to Christmas. Our anniversary is close to Christmas. So for birthday, anniversary, and Christmas, we just kind of wrap it all together and we go to Disney. That's always been our thing. And so we were doing that for years, and we would often go, then, and we might go another time. And so with the amount of time that we go for the trip, it always made sense for us to get an annual pass because it paid for itself, even if we didn't go all the time, like, how Florida residents do, because you guys are local, you can go all the time. So anyway, we had figured that out. We're like, okay, that would work. And then right when we finally decided to pull the trigger on that, they stopped selling them. Like literally the week that we decided, okay, we're going to do it. And then COVID happened. And my husband, I was like, you better call and get the annual pass. And he goes, no, COVID just happened. And I want to see what happens with all of this. Well, then they stopped selling them in the middle of COVID. And I was so mad. I was like, you missed the opportunity. And then, they didn't bring them back for so long. So, I was so bummed. I was like, oh, we missed the opportunity. And so now that we've had it for so long, but the last few years we've only gone one time. Now, granted, we've gone for a long amount of time. And the other thing is the headquarters of his company is here in Dallas, but they have it used to be headquartered in Florida, so it kind of still is, if that makes any sense. So he often travels to Florida for work, and a lot of his coworkers are big Disney people, and they often end up going to Disney. So he uses the annual pass for like work things too, so he doesn't have to buy a ticket. And I'm like, okay, as long as someone's getting use out of it, that's fine. The last few years, everything's gotten a little derailed, and we just haven't gotten to go as much as we wanted and spend as much time as we wanted. And then last year we didn't go at all because we went to Europe. So no complaints there. I think I'm actually going to attach the back first, only because the back has good centering lines and I didn't make any on the front, and I'm not gonna. So we'll just start on the back. That's okay. Starting on the back side. Every single time I've made this map pack, by the way, this gusset just eases in. No matter how I upsize it either, it always eases in beautifully. I don't know what it is about this bag, but I have never eased a gusset in so easily in my life. It's crazy. So we'll see if this one, I've made 3, technically 4, because I did make one in a class. And yeah, it eased in beautifully. So anyway, I will see if this one, this is actually the 5th one I've made then, because I've got 3 over there on the shelf. I made 1 in class. This is the 5th one. So we'll see if that still remains true, but this thing always eases in so nicely. Anyway, so when they finally brought back annual passes, I told my husband, we have to get the annual pass. We have to get it, because in the time that they were not selling annual passes, y'all, we went to Disney like 4 times, and it just happened to work. And I was like, are you flipping kidding me? And the other thing that had happened prior to us becoming annual pass holders, because we go every year and we go at the same time and we like to stay where we like to stay, we became DVC members. Fantastic. So we knew it's already built in. We're already going to go, we want to go, we're going back. We should get the AP. And so we were scheduled to get our AP. We wanted to do it, and then they took them away and didn't bring them back forever. We were finally able to get one, and my husband he was like, well, maybe we won't order it over the phone. Maybe we'll wait till we go on the trip this year to get it. I was like, if you wait and you lose out on it again, he goes, no, they're not going to take them away again. That doesn't make any sense. Sure enough, they were only on sale for like 3 weeks, and then they took them away again. And and luckily he did get one over the phone. I forced him to, and he was like, you're being so extra about it. Like, we don't need to do that. And I was like, yes, we do. You better get that pass. So we have it, and now I'm like totally unwilling to let go of it. I mean, unless we just are not going anymore, but at this point, it's kind of a wash. Like, we could just pay for tickets or have the AP with the amount we've been going. So, but I'm hopeful this next year and everything else, it'll be, a little easier for us to make our way back there, because I really do miss it. I just miss our routine, I miss the routine of relaxation and not having to think about it. And my favorite places, it's like an old shoe, that kind of situation. It's like, it may not be, I mean, it is glamorous, it is Disney, but you know what I mean? We have friends who are like world travelers, and they make fun of us so much for going to Disney, because they go to like Portugal and Colombia and, all kinds of, they're jet setters. They just are. They love travel. They're in, I watch their adventures online, and it's like 1 week they're in Italy, and, they all are having destination weddings, and that's great for them. But like, we're boring. I just like what I like, and I want to make sure it's, boring, I guess. I don't know. So this one did not ease in quite as beautifully as the other ones. I'm having to shift some pins, and I'm certain I can make it work just fine. But this vinyl, like I said, has been a little squishy, but this is the first time I've ever had to shift a pin. Normally, you guys, when I do a map pack, it's like clip, 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 and it's done. It eases in so nice. So this is the first time I've ever had to work it a little bit to get it to finesse into place, which is okay. I mean, You just, this is a big thing too. You guys are, I've seen people that are like, I have problems with the curves. I can't get the curves. I really think a lot of people are not massaging the gusset. I mean, you really have to. You really, really do. And you have to do it in the right way um, to get all the little lumps and bumps distributed. And sometimes if you don't keep the right seam allowance, your gusset is not going to ease in properly. It just won't. You have to keep a proper seam allowance and really, pay attention to what you're doing in order to, get it all to lay smooth. And it is a big deal. A lot of people kind of disregard parts of that, but it's the geometry of all of it. Like, you've got to get this one item inside the other one, and you only have so much volume, right? So you got to work with it, and you got to smooth it out, and you've got to do your best, to get it all nice and working. And if you have to revisit the gusset and either make it a little bigger or a little smaller, like, you might have to. The other thing you can alternatively do is, if your gusset is too tight and it's not laying nicely, you may have to trim little bits. Like, you might have to trim your panel down a little bit, and you'll have to trim both, but that's okay. Just, you don't want to be trimming down tons if you're like way off. But if you're talking about trimming off 1/8 of an inch or a little corner, just make sure everything is symmetrical. That's what you want. Sansa says, I'm a Disney adult. Yeah, totally. We are totally Disney adults. We didn't mean to be. It just kind of happened one day, but like, we are too. We love Disney, and I know that's not for everybody, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be. I don't love everything they do, but most of it. To be honest, if there was any other place on Earth that had such an immersive feel, that was like all-inclusive resort, right? Like when you go to a beach town or whatever and you go to an all-inclusive resort. If there was something like that that also had more stuff to do at it than the beach, right? Or like pools, which is how I feel about Disney. It's all-inclusive because I have an annual pass or whatever. And no, the food's not part of it, but if you kind of just budget for it and pretend that it is, it sort of has that all-inclusive feel, right? You just go there, you stay on property, you do all the Disney things while you're there, and you just stay in the Disney bubble. And I don't know, man, it has that same kind of all-inclusive, no worries, I don't have to think about anything, and the other thing is, I love the staff while we're there. Everybody is just so nice. That was one of those things at when we were overseas. We in Europe, we did go to Euro Disney for a couple of days, and it really was enjoyable, and we did meet some nice people, but it's different. Everybody at Disneyland or Disneyland, yeah, and Disney World, they just smile so much, and they're happy, and they my husband and I, we like to talk to people, and they really seem to enjoy their job. They actually, I'm sure everyone doesn't, but a lot of people are like, they'll tell us all kinds of amazing stories about making magic for people and people they meet and their favorite, interaction with a kid or a family or whatever. And we love that. We love to hear about it. And, we've had some pretty candid stories from quite a few cast members that aren't necessarily like super happy. They're more like, how would I put it, like sarcastic, I guess, stories, like, but they're real, and the people still seem to enjoy their job and really love their cast member buddies and stuff like that. And we've known quite a few cast members over the years as like personal friends too, who are both just like shop clerk cast members, but also face characters and furry characters alike. So we've known, a pretty wide gamut of people, that have worked there, and the stories are always interesting and kind of fascinating to us, and we just like that. We just like the friendly staff and all of that. So, yeah. Again, I mean, it's for us. I might have a pucker around this little corner. I might need to revisit. I hate when that happens. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like when we turn it. Those corners are the worst part for sure. Obviously this one's at 130%, so the corner's pretty broad, which is nice. I don't know if that pucker's going to show. It's really little. So we'll see. The stiletto also really helps on these little corners. Make sure those D-rings, whether you did singles or doubles or whatever, make sure they're out of your way, because holy broken needles. Yeah, it's definitely just a different culture overseas. It's so funny because someone had mentioned to us that like they knew we were American from far away because we smile too much. That's just, you know, it's not a thing so much, especially smiling with your teeth, I guess, is kind of a dead giveaway. Your clothing is also a pretty dead giveaway too, a lot of times, but yeah, we were like, oh, okay. They're just, you know, they don't really greet people by smiling. They're friendly. They just don't smile. And the French particularly, it seemed like, at least in Paris proper, you know, I can't speak for the whole country, but that seemed to be one of the things that was like a little different culture-wise. And they were just very stern, like all of the staff there. So when I go to Disney and you have an issue and like you go to the front desk and like your key card's not working, you know, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, let me fix that for you. Have a, you know, great evening. Thanks for coming here. You know, you don't get any of that over there. It's like, what do you want? So it's just different. Cool experience, but just different. And we met a lot of really like kind of surly staff there. We did meet a couple of really sweet people while we were there too that for sure made up for it, but they were definitely the exception. And I found myself wondering like, well, they have French accents, but like they don't seem like the other French people that we've met. So just different. Yeah, I don't think I've ever met a cast member at Disney with, I mean, I'm sure they exist. I'm sure it happens. Everyone has a bad day, but at American Disney's, I don't think I've ever had a cast member frown at me or like be, you know, angry or anything like that. And if they aren't super bubbly or whatever, that's fine. But like I've never had like a mad or an upset cast member. Anytime we've even kind of encountered anything like that, we try to be like nice and tell jokes or, you know, stories, or just ask them how their day's going, you know, whatever, talk to them like a normal human being. And that's a big thing I really love at Disney as well. You know, I look forward to that on vacation. Like I just want to go in there and forget about the real world where people are necessarily not so nice all the time. So yeah, so excited to do that too. I hope Fort Wilderness is nice. Typically we stay in hotels. We've never done the RV thing at Disney, so that'll be really interesting. We've been, you know, just we drove around the resort like one time to just see. It's pretty. I know there's horses there, which I might get brave and do some of that. I don't know. I haven't ridden a horse since I was like 14. I highly doubt I'll do it, but it could be fun. And then I know you rent golf carts there, and lots of people have the golf carts, and I don't know, take a spin around, doing all that. I don't know, you know, when we normally stay in RV parks, we just park at our campsite. Does anybody know how that works at Fort Wilderness? If you stayed there in your RV and you also have your car, like we tow a truck behind our RV. So can you park your truck or your car at your campsite? Is that a thing? Like in a normal RV park? Or do you park out in the parking lot and then you gotta walk in? You know, kind of like a hotel room, right? You park in the parking lot and then you walk up? Is that how it works? I'm not sure how that would work, actually. I guess if your campsite's big enough, right? Because what if you have like a fifth wheel and you don't want to unhitch? or a bumper pull trailer, frankly. What if you don't want to unhitch and you're not planning on driving while you're there? Better yet, what if you have an accident of some sort and you can't unhitch? That happens too, like your hitch gets twisted or something and you literally cannot unhitch. You can still stay in your RV, but you got to drive it back there, and then you got to stay back there. My guess is they would accommodate you and put you in a bigger spot if you didn't have a big enough one. But I guess I don't know. I suppose I will let you guys know. I never thought about that. Lots of people tow dinghies, and I'm sure if they go to Disney, they're taking the buses and stuff, and they might not want to, you know what I mean, like unhitch. So, okay, should we see if my pucker showed up? Oh, barely. Oh, like just the bareliest. Oh my gosh, it's such a tiny pucker. I'm going to turn everything inside out and then I'll show you. It's such a small pucker. I don't even know if I'm going to bother. Like, I don't know if I care about that. That's silly. So, oh, but the other side is perfectly smooth. Boo! That's such a teensy little pucker. I just, you know, you risk making it worse, and this is like nothing. So I don't know if I would really bother with this. I'm gonna double check all my curve work too and make sure I don't need to adjust anything. I might. Can't tell if this is just the vinyl laying funky or if I need to revisit this corner. I think it's just the vinyl laying funky because when I really turn it all the way out, it's okay. Right here. It looks like there's a weird corner. But when I actually turn it all the way out with my fingers, I think it just needs to be trained with some clips overnight. Roll it, put some heat on it, all that stuff. I probably shouldn't have used the red to assemble because, I mean, it doesn't really look bad, but like in a couple of spots I can see it where I don't want to. Yeah, now that I trained it, that looks perfect. But it's kind of wanting to come back to this little corner right here, so I might, although when this is out, it's not a problem. It's nice and round. It's probably fine. I told you guys my tag would be crooked. It's always crooked. It's literally always crooked. Okay, so this, you ready to see my little pucker? This side is perfect. Okay. That, you see that pucker? You see that little pucker? It's right there, right by my fingernail. It's so tiny. But that makes me mad. It could be perfect like the other side. Oh, I don't think I'm going to chance dealing with it. I don't want to mess it up. I just, you know, you always risk, if I take it apart, something could be catastrophic and it'll just be stupid. So I don't think I want to deal with that. I think I'm going to leave it and I think I'll just be happy. So, now we got to do the big guy. Oh, this is stressful because this was so much work. I am going to make a small center line. I do have a centering line on the bottom where I centered the pocket, but I don't actually know if that's like a very good centering line. It's pretty good. It probably will work to do the gusset, but I do just want to make a teensy little snip at the top here. Just so I have something to line things up. Oh, and yeah, I think I probably will hop off after this because I am tired and I don't want to risk, you know, causing any more issues or anything. I kind of want to switch to maroon thread, but I don't think I will. But you know what I will do really quick is check my bobbin. I'd hate to run out of bobbin on a curve. I still have a pretty good amount. I have over half. No worries. I will have to change it before I bind, though. Binding is a thing for tomorrow, me. I'm not going to do that today. Oh, all right, shall we? Shall we? And then I'll do a strap separately. I need to do like a mock-up of that with some other materials. And I don't want to risk, you know, again, screwing anything up tonight. But I want to figure out a way to make a padded strap that is going to zip into one piece. So I can use it as a crossbody, or I can separate it into two. And I already have a decent idea in my head of how I want to do it. And I will make sure to get that on some sort of a video, a live video or something like that, so that anyone else who wants to do one can do one too. I already have kind of a decent idea though about how to make it work. So, anyway. The other thing we are doing vacation-wise, this is next year, not this year. Speaking of being a Disney adult, we've never done this before. In fact, we took a cruise in overseas in Europe this last year, but it was a river cruise. So very different from ocean cruising. And my husband and I have never taken an ocean cruise together. The river cruise was our first cruise together. We've been on them separately, like, you know, when we were much younger, like kids and such. So we booked a Disney cruise. We've never been on an ocean cruise. Obviously, we've never done a Disney cruise. So we're pretty excited about that. We think that'll be really fun. Interesting, and we're excited. We are going to go on the Disney Wish. So we originally actually did book the Okla cruise with Okla Roots, if you're familiar. And I was very excited about that, but my husband has a work conflict, so we had to switch to a different cruise. And we thought, well, we actually had already booked a cruise. Then the Okla cruise got announced, and we thought, oh, that would be so fun to go. So we swapped to the Okla cruise and then had to swap again. So we are still going to go on the Wish. We're just going to go at a different time, and it won't obviously be during the Okla cruise thing, but I'm really excited to do fish extenders. And I want to find something really fun to sew that I can sew for the fish extenders. I think that'd be so sweet. And so I need to find something. So I'll think on that. And if you have a good idea, I don't want to just do like the traditional thing that everybody does, you know? I want to do something fun that's like unisex and kind of multi, you know, like everyone would like it. And I might just do a pouch or something like that, but I was actually thinking, I've had an idea rolling around in my head for a while for a little pattern that I hopefully want to release. It has nothing to do with bags. It's a very simple little pattern, but it's something that I would use a lot. And I'm thinking, oh, I could make that, and we could all make them together on, you know, YouTube. That'd be fun. Haven't done it yet, so if I do release those, that's something that everyone can use. That's a pretty fun little thing, and I could totally sew a whole bunch of those up and give them away. So we'll see. Okay, so I've got some gappage on this one too. I'm gonna have to kind of finesse this guy a bit, but that's okay. As long as we get him non-puckery, because I am not having puckers on this front panel. That is not happening, even little puckers. I'm not doing it. This panel is way too fancy for that. I think where I went wrong is I did not ease my corners at the bottom in. So I'm spreading all this down toward the bottom. I think that's where my issue lies. It's almost always where the issue lies. Yep, okay, I eased that one. Much better. Samesies on this side. Vinyl really is quite stretchy though. I have not had vinyl be this stretchy in quite some time. I don't remember where I got this one from. It's been in my stash for a long time. I did get a whole bunch of vinyl from an upholstery shop at one point, so that might be what this is. It might not be marine vinyl at all. it might be more like upholstery vinyl. So, but I just liked the color. It just worked good. What can I say? The Sparrow's Nest says my family prefers Universal. We do like Universal, but we're, my husband likes some of the big rides. I'm just too much of a chicken. That's the problem. We love Harry Potter, so we do go every few years, like every 4 years or so, we tack on like Universal to our Orlando trip. We have yet to go to Universal Orlando. Someday we will. We just haven't done it yet. Just hasn't happened. We're like never out in Orlando. Every 4 or 5 years, I would say, instead of going to Disney World, we go to Disneyland. Disneyland is expensive. Oh my gosh. It's so freaking expensive. Every time we go there, my husband's like, we spend 4 days at Disneyland and we could spend the same amount of money spending 10 or 12 days at Disney World. Disneyland is so flipping expensive. I mentioned earlier, I just went there in the middle of all my dental work, like for a break, while I just had a set of fake teeth in. I didn't even have teeth in. They were like not in there all the way. But I went and met Susie from So Girly Fun, and we just went and had a fun time at Disney World, or Disneyland, together, because I was in Arizona. So it was only 5 hours. I went and met her, and it was like everything was under construction. So I said, we're not going to go to Disneyland this year. We were going to go there this year. We decided not to, because they're having a ton of construction. But yeah, we like Universal. We just don't go there all the time because we're, most of it is kind of wasted on us. It's such... Universal, is like so for thrill seekers, which like if you really like those big rides, man, they got a lot going on there for you, for sure. But we don't particularly love 3D rides. They give my husband some motion sickness sometimes. I'm okay on them, but oh my gosh, the Simpsons ride, that ride, I don't get motion sickness really hardly ever. Certainly not on regular track coasters, but I had to like literally last time we went on that Simpsons ride, I had to close my eyes and like, nope. I was so afraid I was gonna vomit. That thing is intense. That is one intense ride. So yeah, we try to avoid some of those, and so yeah, that's kind of our thing with Universal. It's like, well, there's definitely good stuff there. We like it, but we got to pick our battles a little bit there. That's all. But Universal's very fun. I do like the atmosphere there. It's definitely a different atmosphere than Disney for sure. And more adults and teenagers, definitely a lot less little kids. I don't mind little kids when I'm in Disney World, which is funny because out in the real world, I like kids enough, but like I don't love kids. And I tend to stay away from places full of little kids, just because like we don't have kids, and I don't know, I think it's kind of weird sometimes to go someplace full of kids when you don't have kids. Yeah, I don't know, they don't bother me when they're in Disney. I love watching little kids while I'm there. Like they're so cute, they're so happy, and the magic is still real for them, And I always think about when I was there as a kid, and like the magic was totally real for me. So I love, like, that's another fun pastime at Disney. I adore all of the little girls that go, well, they don't even have to go to the boutique. Like maybe their mom dresses them up like a princess. But I love when you see the little kids that are dressed up in their costumes, and it's like, it's magic for them. I love that. And there is a lot of that at Universal too. Like the kids, they meet Spider-Man or whatever, and they're like so excited, they're like excited to meet, whoever they're meeting. Like they're all stoked about it. And I do love that. That's a big favorite like pastime of mine. I love watching all the families in their matching shirts. Hopefully someday we get to have kids and we get to do that. I'm totally going to be camp matching shirts and all that stuff. Like I get it. I totally do. And you don't get to do those things forever. So when I was younger, like way younger, I definitely was like, oh my gosh, the matching shirts, how silly, Who does that? And now I'm like, everybody should do that. What fun memories. And you don't get forever to do that, and someday you might not have anybody to match shirts with, dang it. So I say go out and do matching shirts. Just a couple times I've made us shirts. I made us, mostly now I sew stuff. A long time ago, before I started sewing clothing, I just did, you know, HTV or whatever. And now I buy all the fancy custom fabric, but it's rare that I do it anymore. I used to like make us sweaters and stuff. I got really cute, ugly Christmas sweater fabric with Disney Mickey heads all over it. I totally made my husband and I little matching sweaters. It's Florida, so they aren't like real sweaters. They're just made out of French terry and they're really thin. They're comfy. Basically long sleeve shirts. We wear them to the Christmas party and it's fun. One of these days we're going to have to go to Universal and dress up. I mean, I've worn, the first year we went to Universal, I made actually a really cool shirt. I really like that shirt. I wish that it lasted longer. And now if I were going to remake it, I'd probably embroider it so that it would last forever, but I'd have to digitize the file. So it was, on the front of it, it said swish and flick, and it had like a cool wand on the front. And on the back, in a cluster, it was like, have you ever seen a concert shirt where they have every single concert, like every single city kind of stacked together, like in a big block of text? So it was every single spell that they ever used in the books. Every single spell. I found a list, and I literally went through and I clustered all of them together in no particular order so they fit perfectly in like this cool rectangle. I used the Harry Potter font, and I weeded the crap out of that decal for I don't even know how many hours. It took a long time. And I was like so nervous the whole time my Cricut was cutting it, like, oh, please don't screw it up. Because it was the whole back of the shirt, and there are hundreds of spells in the books, way more than the movies. And I got every single one of them on there, and it was awesome. It was so cool. I got so many compliments on that shirt, and it was really cool. I loved that shirt, but it was HTV and it didn't last very long. It, you know, came off after a couple of washes, but it was really cute. Should find like a company to do like a silk screen of that or something so it lasts longer. It was such a cool shirt, and I really loved, that was a labor of love for sure. So that first year we went to Universal, we did that. Guess who forgot to leave her zippers open? Me. But it's a double zipper, so it's pretty easy to get in there, so luckily I think I'll be okay. That year, I think I made my husband a t-shirt too. Honestly, I can't remember what his t-shirt was. It didn't have all those spells on it because he wasn't really into like the matching shirt idea. But I think I made him one. And then, you know, we have like other just Harry Potter shirts we wear. But one of these years, I should like do the, you know, whole getup. I really need to make a Harry Potter bag. I actually had an idea yesterday for a Harry Potter bag that I think I'm going to make myself. I think it would be really friggin' cute. All right, we're getting into the home stretch. Now, if I have to revisit any area on this front panel, I'm gonna, because this panel is gonna be friggin' perfect. I will not take any substitutes for perfection on this. This applique took me far too long. To not have it be friggin' perfect. Normally, I'll make you guys wait till it's done with the binding and the strap to do the full reveal, but I don't feel like it. So I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to take a sneaky peek at it, and then I'm going to turn out the lights, and I'm going to show you the whole bag, because it's finally dark, so you'll be able to see, like, the whole thing. Earlier when I showed peeks of it, there was like light coming through the window and stuff. So, you know, it's fine, but you didn't get the full effect. And I don't think before I turn it, I just gotta like make sure I caught all the friggin' edges. Because you know when you turn it and it's like, well, if I would have seen that. Okay, so right there, I did actually have a skipped stitch. There's a really thick bunch of applique right here, so before I do that, I'm just gonna hit this again real quick. There's no reason to, because there's gonna be a hole there since I had a little skip stitch on that weird spot. Okay, I'm not gonna worry too much about it because we're gonna have binding over it. So I don't really need to backstitch a whole bunch there, but I did anyway a little bit. And yeah, the binding will... Oy. Okay. So anyway, what I was saying is I'm going to take a little sneaky peeky of this. And if it all looks good and I don't have to revisit anything, then I'll give you like the official preview, even though it's not done. So you should consider yourself privileged, because technically you're getting like all the reward here without having to wait for the whole thing, you know? But it's fine because there's nothing else really special about the rest of it. It's just going to be binding in a strap that I've yet to make. Ow. I've broken so many fingernails this week. I didn't just break one, but it felt like I did for a second, and it hurt. And was painful. I thought for a second maybe I broke one. Okay, and I don't want to have to turn this too many times, so I'm hoping there's nothing weird that I need to revisit. I don't think there is. I think everything is pretty good. I don't want to turn this too many times because of the applique work on it. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine. It's all stitched down, but I don't want it to get crinkly, which can happen. Oh, come on. I also don't want to leave it crumpled for too long because I also don't want it to get crinkly. Ugh, go mofo, go. Hurry up. No crinkles. Okay. Whew. Whew. Okay. Looks like we made it. Okay, curves are good. This one little weirdo basting stitch is just sticking out in no man's land where it doesn't belong. Why are you here? It might not even be like a basting stitch. It's just like an errant thread, but it's bright red so I can like see it and it looks terrible. Okay. I cut it off as close as I could, but it's still sticking out. So I do think what I will do, this will make me happier. I'm not going to make you guys wait for this because you won't even be able to see it on camera, but I don't like the red that I use to assemble. When the vinyl pulls a little bit, you can just see it and it's so bright. I have a maroon color like this and I would have just used that to assemble, but I was being lazy. So, yes, this will be good once it's all trained, and it has no binding on it. So keep that in mind. Binding kind of acts like boning in a corset, and it will round out all of these curves. Like, they are rounded. I've pushed them all out, and they look really good. But right now it looks kind of crinkly and weird, and it won't look crinkly when I go over it with the binding. Trust me, it'll be really round. That's why I was saying if you struggle with curves, you have to, binding will be your friend because it helps round everything out. Piping also helps round everything out. So if you struggle, that will help you. And yeah, this will need some training for sure. I'm going to stuff it with a towel and like very ever so gently, train it with a little heat. Just a little heat, nothing crazy. I don't want to melt my applique. And then again, these seams will turn out a lot better when they are bound. it will turn like to the right direction, if that makes any sense. Right now they're kind of curled in toward the front, and it won't be like that. All my other mavs are not like that, so I don't expect this one will be any different. But, okay, I'm going to turn out the lights. Who's ready to see it? Oh, I'm so excited. I really like the size of this at 130%. I'm not going to lie. Now, for a backpack, I don't know about for a crossbody. If you have a big frame like me on a crossbody, it might be pretty good. Oh my gosh. I'll be much happier when it's trained and it's bound, but... Oh, okay, who's ready? Turning off all the lights. We're leaving this light on so you can see it. So that's what it looks like. Oh, it's so good. But just wait. But just wait. Okay, hopefully I got that in there correctly. Yeah, okay, I did. Make sure. It's dark in here now, so I'm like, oh, wait. Okay, I'm going to cover up this light a little bit just because it's really bright. Let me see if I put this like pattern in front of it a little bit, maybe. I don't want to like totally turn out the lights, but I don't want to I just want to like block this a little bit, and this is very, I can't really do this one-handed. Ugh. Okay, come on, work with me. I can't do this one-handed, and I can't, okay, does that work? Now it's not like so blinding. Okay. Oh, let me get my hand in here and try to do this right. I can probably just do it with one hand. This is really hard. Okay. Get him on camera. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. Ah, I love him. He looks so good. I didn't want to turn the lights all the way out because you wouldn't be able to like see his design. But I am so stoked about him. And then, you know, when you're like somewhere his eyes and his face, they're not glow in the dark vinyl, but they will glow because it's white. Okay, these D-rings are driving me nuts. I love it. I'm so excited about this bag. Santa asked if you can see it. Yes, you can see the other ones. Let me turn the lights back on because that'll make things so much easier. Oh, I love him, and I cannot wait to have binding on this because it really will round everything out nice. So these are the other ones I've made. I don't have the fourth one that I made because I actually scrapped it. That was the one I made in a class. I did not like the materials we used in that class, so they just didn't turn out well for me at all. So, let me read the comments really quick too. Let me see. Oh my gosh, Sparrow's Nest. I love the Simpsons ride. I don't know. I love the idea of it. I love the Simpsons, but oh my gosh, that ride, that one got to me like halfway through it, and I was like, okay, I just gotta close my eyes. Like I'm gonna zone out. that ride got to me. Actually, I haven't been in a few years. I think my park days are coming to an end. My kids are finally old enough to go without me. I prefer to stay home and sew. Oh, I actually feel that way too. Sometimes when I'm there, I'm like inspired and I want to make all the things, but that makes me sad. I don't ever want my park days to be over. I love the parks. She said, that's so cool. Thank you very much. And then yes, you can see the other one. So let me see. I made the first one in the class, which I don't have anymore. And then I made this one. This is the original size, and it's all marine vinyl. So this is the backstitch textured vinyl. It's a pretty thick vinyl. There's no interfacing on any of the vinyl ones. This one has interfacing, and I'll show you that one in a minute. So this is the all original. The only hack I did to this, the only changes, I put piping on here. So there's piping on the front, and I love the piping. Piping does two things. For one, again, it helps round out those curves everywhere, but it also acts just like binding, like a boning. So it gives your bag really good structure. This one has the original zipper, and I did it toward the back instead of the front. I kind of actually think I did it by accident, but I like it that way actually, because when it's up against your body, like you can peer right down in here versus having to peer over the whole bag. If that makes any sense. So if it's to the back, I actually like it better. And then the only other thing I did in mine, which I did in all of them, I don't like a zipper pocket in these small bags. My hands are big. I don't need that. A zip or a slip pocket, excuse me, is perfect because it gives you, get that on the camera, see the slip pocket? It gives you a place to put your phone or your important paper or whatever, and then the rest of it is such a small bag. I don't need a zipper pocket in there. So I don't do a second zipper pocket. I never do. I do a slip pocket and that's it. So this one, the only other change I made, which I don't know who came up with this, I'll be honest. I took a class with Lindsay herself from Lynn's Handmade, and she taught us the map pack, and she just told us to do this slider bar. So it's a 1-inch slider bar with the little D-ring on it, so you can wear it either way. Honestly, I thought that was part of the pattern. I didn't realize that was like a hack that someone came up with. I don't know who did it. Yeah, this one still needs some training. It's just been sitting on the shelf. Like all the curves are perfect and there's the teeniest little pucker there, but it's not even really a pucker. It's just that the vinyl is so thick with like all the binding, it wants to kind of roll. So it just does, and that's the back. But because the piping's on the front here, it prevents it from doing that. So I like the piping, but it is extra steps and it's thick. But it gives the bag, this is my little strappy strap there. It gives the bag really good structure. Like this bag sits all on its own. So, I mean, look how like rigid that thing is. No zipper, or I'm sorry, interfacing on this. It's just zipper, vinyl, waterproof canvas on the inside. And actually this one has water resistant canvas from Backstitch. It's thinner, but there's purple waterproof canvas on the gusset. So you've got pretty good structure in here. So this is the original size. Okay. The next size up is the 115%. So original size, 115%. You can see the size difference here. Try to get that like on camera pretty good, right? So I did all the same hacks. Piping. I did make a mistake on my math here, so this one ended up thinner, and I'm not mad about it. I actually really like the thinness because this bag is bigger, so now it's a little thinner. Otherwise, it sticks out really far. I did the slider bar on this one. I also did it in waterproof canvas, just like I did on the one here today, instead of vinyl, because an all vinyl one is kind of a lot. And I had this that matched, so not upset about that. I also made a change on here. I did this connector instead of the D-ring, and I love it. I think it's so pretty. I'm just waiting on webbing that matches well enough on this one. But I did the piping again, and I did the slip pocket inside. This one inside is all waterproof canvas and pink binding. So I got this peachy pink binding. I'm in love with this bag. I love it so much. I really want to keep this one, but I think it's just going to end up for sale because I can't keep all these, and I love my Iron Man one. So that's what I did for this one, and I did the slider bar, and I think I will probably always do the slider bar. It's easier, and I just like it. The next one I did, this is canvas, not waterproof canvas, cotton canvas. There is waterproof canvas inside, right? So this is a canvas, and I quilted it, and the reason I quilted it is because I used SF101, like a stiff interfacing, and I did the split gusset. I prefer the split gusset also, so I'm always going to do the split gusset as opposed to this one. I'm worried about the longevity of the zipper on this, just to be honest. I think it's probably fine, but I just don't love it. I prefer the split. So I did the split, and then I just quilted this on the front because I wanted the stabilizer to stay attached, and it didn't want to. I don't really like stiff stabilizers. I try to avoid stabilizer in general and just use thicker, better quality materials. But, you know, when you're working with cotton woven, you do what you got to do. This bag has purple piping and green water resistant canvas inside, and then it just has a slip pocket and again the slider bar, and I just did it in the cotton woven that matches, so it like fully blends in on the back. And there's the slider bar here. Gunmetal hardware on this one, and I just haven't finished the strap. I need to. So this one is the 120%. So 115 and 120, and you notice there's really not a big difference because it's only 5%, 115 to 120. So very minimal size difference, but there is a little bit of a size difference. So then the next one we have, this is the 120. And again, remember this one, you know, it's kind of turning back in on itself because it's not bound inside. It really needs that binding to pop it out. But this is the 130 versus the 120. So we've gone from original to 130. Big size difference. But yeah, lots of fun things. I had literally just 2 Beetlejuice pulls left in my stash. So like how perfect were these? And I've been waiting to cut into this, and then it's really hard to see. Ooh, I have dog hair on my shirt because I was wrestling with my puppy earlier, and it got on my bag. But you can kind of see the quilting on here, hopefully. I used variegated thread. I don't know if you can see it. It's really subtle. You can see it pretty good here on the front, right there. It's green, black, and purple thread, and it came out so nice. And that thread is from Wizardry. It's called Villainous. It's like Maleficent colors. So I thought, oh, how perfect is that for Beetlejuice? And I got this tape from them. It's got like the iridescent black teeth on this green, so that was perfect. And yeah, I use a lot of stuff from Wizardry. This connector came from Wizardry too. And when I saw these at their booth, I bought these in person and I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Gotta, I had the idea to do a map, and like, look how good if I have this on a thing, like it sits on the front of you. So cute. So I bought them in every color. So I'm going to make a whole bunch of Disney ones with these instead of the D-rings. This is what I was referencing, by the way, at the beginning of my video. I had to make this a little longer because this whole thing has to go inside this little piece when you're sewing it. So I had to make it longer because this is so big. It's wide. So just be aware of that when you're making your little tab things. If you're using big hardware, you got to give yourself enough space. Santa asked, how do you do the split gusset? Split gusset's not hard. You just take your, you'll have to do the math if you're doing the size increase. It's a total, she gives you the total width of the gusset. Your bottom piece, not this one, that one has the wrong math, so it's thinner. So this width, right, of this gusset piece, when you do your whole top, she has you take the zipper tape. She does the math for you on the original one. So and I don't want to give those pattern pieces out because it's her proprietary stuff, but if you have this pattern, she tells you what size to cut this at to put it with this zipper tape. Number 5 zipper tape is 1.25 inches wide, 1.25 inches wide, typically. So the total of this with a 1/4 inch seam allowance and this piece she has you cut add up to the same amount as this gusset piece, right? Pretty simple. It all needs to be the same to flow around. And you're sewing the two together. So all you need to do is your math. You need to add extra seam allowance here. So basically she already accounted for 1 seam allowance, right? Right here where you sew this gusset to your zipper. You need to do the math to add an extra 1/4 inch seam allowance twice. 1/4 times 2, it's a 1/2 inch. So what I did on mine was add a 1/2 inch to my width so that I still end up with the same, you know, gusset width all the way around. A lot of people, if you don't want to do the math, what they did was they just said, you know what, I just took this gusset that she already told me to cut. I cut it twice. So I cut 2 exteriors. She tells you to cut 1, but I cut 2. And then I cut 2 liners. And I made the zipper sandwich, just like how you do it this way. So you take outer body fabric, lay your zipper, and then lay your liner, stitch all the way down. If you come back and watch this video later, it'll be published. You saw me do the split gusset on here. So if you do the whole split gusset, then people just said, you know what, then I lined it up with this piece she had me cut and I just trimmed it. That's the surefire way to do it because in the end, you just need it to be the same width as your gusset. But, you know, you can do the math if you feel like doing it either way. But it's not hard. It's the same way you would do a gusset on pretty much any other purse. And I did this bag on YouTube. It's already out there, so you can go watch this one. I did the split on here. My math is wrong, so don't pay. I was a 1/2 inch off. I didn't add enough width here. That's why I ended up with a 2 inch wide gusset instead of a larger one. But again, I'm not mad about it. It just gives you a nice low profile. Like, this is still a big bag. It can fit a lot. Don't be deceived. Because it kind of poofs out when you you know, have stuff in it. And I have in my fridge, I have a regular size Dasani, like what you'd get at the parks. Every one of these bags, including the original Mav, if you can believe that, this fits a Dasani water bottle, and you can zip it with the Dasani water bottle. So like, you can't fit a ton in here, but you could fit sunglasses, a Dasani water bottle, a couple of little trinkets if you bought some stuff, some chapstick, and car keys, and like maybe a little wallet, and you're good to go. You don't need a lot, but if you want more, any of these other bags, you know, they fit more. So you can go watch any of those videos, or this one will probably not. Once I get off, it'll take probably till tomorrow to publish. And then, yeah, I mean, it definitely needs its binding because you can see it's wanting to just like fold back in on itself, like slowly. But once it's all pushed out nice and neat and not weird, all my little curvies are super nice, and that'll round it out. So anyway, yeah, I'm so pleased as punch with this bag, and I love the ability to click him on and off super easy. And bonus points, you can see the inside of your bag really nice. So no digging in a dark bag. And this is just a battery operated light, so easy peasy. Yeah, I have another idea for a light up bag, and since this one came out so well, I'm really excited to do that one. So I'll have to see if I can make that one happen. Oh, but anyway, gosh, I'm tired. So I'm gonna hop off, and it was really good to chat with you guys, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And then obviously, if you're just now joining in, you can, you know, go back and watch this. I always publish these lives. So my pile of Mavs here, I've made 5 now, 4 of them are here. So anyway, I love them. I love them all. But unfortunately, I can't keep all of my children, so they will end up in my booth at OSQE in a couple of weeks for sale. And then I'm sure I'll throw some on the website at some point if there's any left over. So abs for days. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. I hope that you have a good rest of the weekend, and yeah, thanks for joining in. I'll see you next time. Bye. This happens every time. I'm going to say bye like 4 times. There's the stop button. No, come back, stop button. Ugh.